Okay.
All right,
Yeah, I
cool.
saw that in the podcast chat thing.
All right, with that squared away. Hey guys, welcome to episode 4 of the DADCast. I'm your host James, and I've got my buddies Claude, Skylar, and George. Introduce yourself, everybody.
Hey.
Oh, was that whole thing recorded?
Yeah.
Let me talk about numpad notation.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Whoa.
Riveting start, guys.
I guess I'm Skylar.
I'm Claude.
And I'm George.
And I'm James. So, Claude,
That's
what'd you...
super hype.
Yeah, super hype.
Okay, hold up. We might need to fix that real quick.
Yeah, what is
That's
that?
not my phone. That's not me.
That is George's end.
George,
Is
you
that
need
me?
to...
Oh, shit.
Yeah, turn your
phone.
notifications off for Discord.
Yeah,
It's in your...
Oh god.
Oh, jeez. Well, what? All right. I guess we'll just fill time while George is doing that shit. So Claude,
Okay,
what did you?
got it.
Oh, you did? Did you turn off all your notifications?
Put on Do Not Disturb.
Seriously. God damn.
I just silenced all of them.
And I thought Skylar's typing was bad.
Alright, well,
Claude, we'll start off with your week. How was your week?
my week was pretty solid. I've watched like 3 anime that are so far off of what I typically watch that I'm actually surprised I watched it, but I'll go on those in a bit. I'll knock out the like quick bits first.
Okay.
I beat Evil Within, and
I
yeah.
also beat Evil Within.
Evil Within 1 or 2?
2. I won't play 1
Okay,
again.
that's an important distinction to make.
Yeah, I beat Evil Within 2. Very good game. Like, the story is nothing amazing, but as far as gameplay goes and atmosphere, I'd probably put it like in my top 5 games from this year. Like, it played really well.
That's
Yeah.
pretty high praise considering all the shit that's come out this year.
Oh yeah, no, it's like it nailed its atmosphere. There were so many times, especially with like that ghost, that was like really tense. Like, I actually felt worried.
The ghost design is super cool.
It is. I also recently beat Evil Within 2, and I had a lot of fun with it. Pretty much all the same reasons George did. I had some...
George, the other black guy, that's not me.
Yeah.
All right.
God damn. Whatever. Claude, what Claude said. And yeah, pretty much all the same praise. I had some trouble towards the very end with just not having any ammo at all, and just really having to fucking scrounge shit out. But
sounds like you're bad at video games.
I'm not bad at video games, actually. Thank you.
I mean, there was a boss that I beat on try 1 that you took like 8 tries to beat. So
during
bitch.
During that last boss.
No, not the last boss.
Not the last boss, but that one boss with the instant kill.
Nostalgia boss, yeah.
Nostalgia boss, okay. Yeah, fuck that boss with its fucking insta-kill that just looks like a normal swipe. Fucking one-frame command grabs is such bullshit.
It's not, though.
No, don't you love fighting game mechanics in your shooters? Your horror?
He's lying. It's not a one-frame thing, because I dodged it every time she tried it.
Literally.
He was fucking playing with his fucking toes or some shit. I don't know how he has that hard of a time.
Oh, God. Hold on. Somebody's knocking at my door, and I might have to just ignore him.
Oh, shit.
Okay,
that's fine.
Wait, fearless leader, come back. What will we do without you?
Oh, we can kill time.
I think the coolest part of Evil Within 2 that I've seen so far, the thing I like most about it is the weird.
Wait, Skylar, please, no spoilers.
Oh no spoilers, no spoilers.
Okay.
It's just that it has like a really weird, like, there are times when the game will pull back and it won't do. It has a really weird sense of humor. Like, it's really weird and campy at times.
Yes.
Like, it has that weird Japanese sense of humor that, like, I completely didn't expect based on the first game. Like, because the first game is, like, deadly serious.
All right, so there was nobody there.
Who was the door?
No, nobody.
All right, maybe you're fucking crazy.
Maybe I'm about to get murdered live on stream.
That'd be pretty hard.
Now we'll get all the views.
James, tell me how you feel about.
Oh, Henry's here. Hi, Henry.
Hello,
Oh, he's in
losers.
there.
My name is Henry. My microphone. I realized I had an inbuilt in my laptop, and I didn't know it before.
Yay! Now we
That's
have
what I'm
all
using
A
on
the
my
new
laptop.
challenger approaches.
a new
Hey,
challenger.
Henry, did you play Evil Within 2?
Did
Tell
I
us how
what?
you feel. Did you play Evil Within 2? Tell us how you feel about Evil
I have
Within
not.
2. It's fucking evil out there, says O'Neill.
It's
But there's
pretty
evil
evil.
within 2.
two.
That's
This is
like
dumb.
the humor in that
No,
game
that's-
is
that's
fucking
joking.
is the fucking best part. Like
I love the
wait,
one where that you get if you beat all of the challenges in the shooting gallery. Where it's like, I
Yeah,
guess I
yeah,
should get back to that whole saving my daughter thing.
yeah, they're really strong. They're really strong. There's also the like when you fully upgrade the skill tree and like the fireworks go off and Tatiana's
Oh,
like
is that a thing?
blown. Yeah, she like blows the kazoo. She's like,
Nice.
yeah, you did it.
You did it! Woo! Hooray!
Yeah, it's pretty good. Like they're like that like they made Sebastian from like the most nothing of characters at all into like an actual like pretty fun protagonist.
What
Who,
a
like
nice dad.
that who he's like yeah he's the dad guy that's now popular and all the things. Like everyone's got to be a dad.
I heard
Everybody.
Dad.
But he's also like old and angry and like done with everyone's shit, and he like calls everyone out on all the dumb things that they do for no reason all the time. Well, he'll just
Mhm.
get mad at Kidman for not telling him about something that was important about the STEM.
What do
or
you
he'll yell at
mean
some
my
dude because
friend's
they-
dead?
Yeah, what like the part where he learns about when O'Neill tells him about the marrow, and he gets the call from Kidman, and he's like, "Why the fuck didn't you tell me about this whole fucking system?"
It'd be so much easier.
Yeah, so it's like it's really good. Like they did it. They did it. The first game was pretty mediocre. It had some ups, had some downs. There were some parts in Evil Within 1 that were legitimately really cool, but then
There
there
was
were parts
only
that were
one
like
part of Evil Within 2 I didn't like wholesale, but it lasted all of like 30 seconds, so I give it a pass.
yeah, unlike the fucking part in Evil Within 1 where you're on like a turret sequence on the back of a military truck and it
Oh,
lasts like
God.
20 minutes.
Oh, wow, I
Mm.
forgot about that.
Mm.
That
Like,
remi- That reminds me of the turret sequence from Dead Space 3.
reminds me of the turret sequence from Mass
God.
Effect 3.
It reminds me of the turret sequence from Metro 2033.
Reminds me of a turret sequence from the DLC of Final Fantasy 15.
Reminds me of that turret sequence from Assassin's Creed.
Why
Reminds
there's
me
so
of
many...
that turret sequence from Portal.
Reminds me of that turret sequence from Call of Duty. No,
All
from
all of the Call
from
of
all of them,
Duties.
from all of them, but also most importantly, the turret sequence from Road to Hell or whatever. What was
Rise
that?
of
Oh
Hell
God!
Retribution.
Stop!
Yeah,
Stop
yeah.
now!
That was the no. That game had like 40 of those turret sequences, and they were always the best part of the game because they were easy. Because you couldn't die.
God.
You could
You guys
not
wanna-
die.
While we talk about video games, I want to show you guys something I just found out.
What?
So if you go on Steam, you know how a lot of games will have custom tags,
Mm-hmm.
or like like fan applied tags or whatever the hell.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Nekopara.
Oh no.
Here are
Please
the
no.
here's the frequently applied tags people have used when describing this product: anime, nudity, visual novel, mature, cute, dating sim, sexual content, single player, story rich, casual, romance, indie, great soundtrack. Here's where it goes off: memes, funny, linear, education, atmospheric, Illuminati,
Okay.
and horror.
Oh.
What
I
is this
see.
thing you're describing? What is this
Okay,
now?
Nekopara
It's the cat made
is a
shit.
cat porn game.
I love it. I love it. A cat
Also,
will
Don't
do.
you love the
on
internet?
Nekopara, speaking of the fucking Nekopara OVA just got finished. They said on Twitter that it's done now, so get excited for the cat porn OVA that's gonna exist.
Oh boy,
Every
I'm
day
so
we stray
happy
further
to
from
fuck
God's
the
light.
cat
Cat girl porn coming at you live.
live on stream.
VR version
OVA.
coming
Live
now.
from Rockefeller
OVAs.
Plaza, Studio 1A.
There's even a trailer out. You can go watch Nekopara OVA, the trailer.
when
Have
does the
fun.
Nekopara Gangbang DLC come out?
Right now.
No, Nekopara
It's
is
released now.
Have you seen that? There's a fucking screenshot of that guy playing Necropara on his laptop, and his cat is on the desk next to him, and you see its fucking face looking at the guy playing the game, and it's a fucking. That's a very 10 out of 10 picture.
That's a good picture. All right.
You know, James, are you planning on reviewing any Necropara Dojin?
No.
Why
No.
not?
You don't need Necropara Dojin. It's already porn.
Yeah, it is already
No,
porn.
no, you need the Dojin because
You
you
mean
do.
You mean Neko Mimi? Like the
nah,
what?
Wait,
I
James,
don't
what
know.
does Nekomimi mean?
NTR.
Neko Mimi
James
is
wants
basically the
NTR.
subgenre of like cat girls and basically any of those girl characters that have like the animal ears and
ear.
tail.
Wrong. Nekomimi
Oh.
just means cat ears in Japanese. That's what it means.
Oh, okay. I'm glad you're fucking going with the literal translation instead of
Yeah,
what
you
it
fuck-
is actually
Well,
supposed to
because
be,
to-
which
to
is
be
a
more
subgenre of pornography that I would fucking know.
To be
J-
more granular, kimono mimi is the whole umbrella that has all of them because kimono means like beast, right?
Wait,
So that's, like-
wait. Oh, I'm thinking of okay, never mind.
Kimono. You're thinking
Yeah.
of kimono.
Oh my! Oh God, fucking Japanese.
Neko means cat.
Really?
Didn't you watch Sailor Moon? You should know
No.
how to say cat.
This is news to everybody.
Anyway, Claude, what else did you do in your
Yeah,
week?
what else did you do?
I honestly forgot we were doing weeks still.
Great.
What's a week?
Amazing.
It's
Fucking
what-
well.
It's
That's what
five.
James is.
It's 5 to. It's 5 to 7 days.
It's days where you should spend time learning, becoming better. And there's something that I learned that was really important this week. It made me super mad. I learned a little nugget of information that Abigail's hitbox makes no goddamn sense.
Oh.
No,
Oh, you're
what are you
just now-
talking about?
Uh-huh.
What are you talking about?
George,
I'm talking
speak-
about Street Fighter 5.
Okay,
no,
which
no,
hitbox?
that
Which
makes
hitbox
perfect
did you
sense.
learn? Which hitbox did you learn was fucked up?
Abigail's the one that doesn't exist apparently, even
Yep.
though he's the size of like a fucking half the screen.
Henry
No, you
says
love
that.
it.
Doing my
So
super,
good.
I was doing my super jury, and he jumped, but that super can hit you in the air. It went through half his body and went just straight through him. Like,
Yeah.
this man is fucked, and his hitbox is fucked too.
Abigail's proportions make certain animations look super fucked up. Like Urian's heavy punch fireball. Like it's programmed to not hit people that aren't in the air, and like for every other character in the game, if you're standing, it won't hit you if you're right in front of him because he aims it too high in the air. But because Abigail's like 9.5 feet tall, Urian goes to shoot it, and the fireball just goes right through his head. It just phases right through him.
Makes no
It's-
goddamn sense.
Who wins in a fight? Fucking oh God, what's his name? Oro or Abigail?
Well,
Who wins?
Oro's
No,
Or-
Oro wouldn't be
Canon
able to hit
Oro.
him. Oro wouldn't be able to
Or-
hit him because of his hitbox.
Oro, no,
That's the
Oro
joke.
has, like,
Like
The
the great
joke-
part of it, like there was a part where me and Claude, where he was like using Yuri, right, and he had me dead to rights, right. He used his super, and I jumped up in the air. My legs were like in the way of the super, and it just passed through me. That was great. That was the best part.
Wow, did he lose that match?
I
He
lost
did.
that match.
You did.
Damn.
Yeah.
Did you just keep mashing EX ground pound to keep him on the
I
ground
didn't
forever?
actually. I did
No.
not. I have not
He
done
did
that.
keep me in a corner, which I couldn't escape, but
Well, yeah, that's Abigail's whole thing. Is fuck you, in a corner you go. Fuck you. Oh, well, fuck you. So George, how was your week?
Oh,
still in my week, but okay.
No.
oh, go ahead. Did you have any more things to say?
Yeah, I watched a couple shows, which I'll interrupt. I was going to just interrupt his week because I will talk about these.
Wow.
All right.
Yeah, this is very important for him to talk about these. I agree with Claude.
Like, there's one I watched, which I shouldn't have watched, but I enjoyed. One that I definitely shouldn't have watched, and I tried to watch out of spite for Skylar, and one Skylar recommended that was a good recommendation. In order, those were Monster Musume, Love Live, and Idolmaster. Monster Musume, I checked out after talking to James. I typically like hate harem shows. This one I couldn't stop watching. It was I guess a good popcorn show. Like there was nothing you really gain out of it. It was just fun enough to watch by itself.
I'm sorry. Sorry,
Huh?
Claude. I just got back. Could you repeat what show that was?
Monster
Musume.
Musume,
Yeah.
is that how it's pronounced?
I'm gonna leave.
Do it, pussy. You won't.
Tell me who your favorite monster girl is.
Oh God,
It's
mermaid.
obviously James.
What?
No.
Mermaid is best girl.
Yeah, that's fine. That's the acceptable answer.
Mermaid's fine.
Yeah.
But a reverse mermaid would blow her right out of the water.
Fuck you and
she
your
ever-
reverse mermaids.
I get it. I understand the joke.
Aha.
Because water, because it's a mermaid.
Like,
Yeah.
all
wait,
of
that
them want
was-
to be with him to some extent, but like, she's like, I don't care which of you win. I want one of you to win because I'm gonna cuck you. Like, that's my existence. I'm like, you know what? That's pretty strong.
Noble goal.
Best goal. But yeah, like typical harem anime, like the guy's like not able to pick up the girls because he's like a massive bitch, and like other girls like make subtle advances, but he's like, oh no, I don't know how to talk to women, and that gets like really annoying really quick to me. This one, the guy wants to, but he'd be arrested if he does, and the girls are so into him that in the first few episodes he's like almost raped multiple times. I'm like, Jesus, man, this is a bit intense. I don't know how to feel. But overall, it was fairly enjoyable. I wouldn't really recommend because there's way better stuff out there. It was fine to just watch and knock out. But then what the majority of my week and the more important one was Love Live versus Idolmaster, which is a joke that's been going around back and forth with Skylar because we all refused to watch Idolmaster until one day I was like, you know what? Fine, fuck it. I'm gonna try Idolmaster and Love Live. Holy shit, Love Live.
To clarify, make sure that you said that you watched Love Live Sunshine, because that's the one that I've seen that I hate. I haven't seen School Idol Project. I don't have feelings on that really.
What are you talking about? It's perfect.
Yeah, Nico needs whatever.
Perfect.
Fuck you. But yeah, anyway, continue.
Yeah, so yeah, I watched it in tandem, and I was like hoping part of me would like Love Live and be like, yeah, let me just kind of run this in the ground and tell them Idolmaster shit. Spoiler alert: Love Live is shit. Like, there's times the show is fine. I'm like, I don't see what's so bad, and it's doing things right, and then it immediately goes to some like nonsense that I don't understand what's happening. Like when they meet some of the
How far did you get
I got to 3 and I gave up. I didn't want to deal with
Oh,
Marie anymore.
you didn't even make it to fucking the Chuni, the Yoshiko. That episode is legitimately the worst one in that whole season.
But wait, I have an important question because this is still Love Live, correct?
Yeah, yes.
All right. Did you get to see a Nico Ni?
No, she's not in Sunshine.
Oh, fuck! But that's the worst one. The Nico Ni is the worst one.
See, people say that, right? She's the worst one in School Idol Project, right? People hate her in School Idol Project because she's a fucking bitch, right?
Yeah.
In that show. But it feels like in Sunshine that the prerogative of the whole writing team was to make every character as annoying as she was. Like, that's what it feels like to me. The only one that's not annoying is fucking the one that doesn't talk. Because she has no screen time.
Like, I met 4 of the girls. The main character is, she's fine, I guess. Even though I didn't really understand that balcony scene. Like, I need to physically reach out and like risk my life so we could touch fingertips so I can let you know that you're my friend. It's really weird. They do a lot of things that don't make sense. Like the first episode that like caught me off guard. I'm like, am I gonna try the show? Was the first episode where they were looking for other girls and like she was like, hey, you'd be great as an idol, and like she tapped her hand and she starts shrieking like a banshee because I guess she doesn't like when people like touch her. And then the girl
who was it? Yeah, she falls out of the fucking tree. That's right.
And then she has like some book bag on her head, and she talks about like, oh, like how she's, I don't know, like a fallen angel or some dumb shit. I don't know what she says. And someone's like, hey, I knew you from elementary school. And then she just kind of looks at them, and they're like, oh, and like
Angel Elementary School.
they play like rock paper scissors or some shit, and they like if you lose you have to use your real name. I don't remember. A lot happened real quick, and then she lost and she sprinted away like a maniac. I'm like, what the fuck? I messaged Skylar in the middle of that. I was like, what just happened? Everything was fine until that moment.
The first episode is really confusing because it's like the whole premise of it is that the main character, the whole like setup of Love Live Sunshine is that this main character girl was like a kid when like younger, like in middle school or whatever, when she saw the main characters from the first season, their group, she saw them win Love Live, which is the competition or whatever they're trying to win. She's like, yeah, I want to be a school idol when I'm in high school. And then she goes to her like shitty like backwater town high school that's like in her small ass country town, and she's like, oh, there's no school idol club, so I'm just gonna form it myself. But then no one wants to join it, so the whole first episode is her trying to find people to join the club. But it's just a really clumsy way to introduce all the characters, and it does it so quickly that it makes like no fucking sense. No one is introduced, and everyone comes across like a weird dumb idiot. Like the Rico, the girl with red hair, is introduced literally. What was she doing? Like trying to jump into the ocean. She was like gonna kill herself or something.
That was later, yeah, but that was I think tail end of episode 1.
Yeah, it's fun. It was so it's like I legitimately don't understand that scene. Like, just like it looks like it was shown like she was literally going to kill herself, like throw herself into the ocean and then die.
Well, I guess you wanted to swim because like something about like being from the mainland. I don't remember. It was something that didn't make sense.
Being from the mainland of Japan, there is no mainland. It's all islands.
I don't remember what she said, man. Like I was already like off board of this because like so much stupid stuff was happening after fine stuff. Like it was never ever good. It was just something was fine and then it got dumb. Like they went fucking scuba diving or whatever with the girl. What's her name? Rico.
Rico is the red-haired one.
Like so, yes, because they went scuba diving, like the three of them.
Yeah, that was
and her whole deal was like, yeah, she didn't. She lost her will to play piano or something. I don't remember, man.
Yeah,
and
like that.
When they saw a fish swim by, and they were like, look. Basically, they didn't say anything, and she puts her hands up and like she's pretending to play piano, like she was inspired by a single fish. And then the other characters pull a JoJo Part 4 opening and point to the sky and let the voice of love take them higher. I don't know what's happening in this whole fucking scene, but after they get out of the water, she's inspired to play piano again. I'm like, oh what?
That happens all the time, by the way.
Then there's episode 3 with Marie or Mari or wherever you pronounce it.
Mari, I think, yeah.
And she's the fastest I've hated a single character in any type of fiction.
Same. I also instantly hated her the second she opened her mouth.
It's joke. What was the other thing she says? Like shining?
Shiny. Shiny. Oh, God. You didn't make it to her fucking thing that she says. She at one point later in the show she calls somebody a pretty bomber head, and I have no idea what that means. But there's a clip of that, you'll find it, where it just loops it over and over again for like a minute, and it could be used like in Guantanamo Bay to get information out of people. It's fucked up.
And there's one legitimately good moment that like I enjoyed, and slightly after it was like, oh wait, you kind of fell on your face with how this worked. And talking to Skylar, he said it was something that was stolen from another anime, but without mistakes. Exactly. What exactly was this?
It was the part from I think episode 3, right, where they do their first concert. It's like, oh, if the concert goes well, then the club can exist, right? Well, yes. I'll let the club exist. And so they do their first live, and I'll admit it's actually like there's a good moment beforehand where they like before the show happens, and they're all like nervous or whatever, and they're like holding hands behind the thing, like, yeah, like let's get hyped for the show. And then they do the show, and like nobody shows up. Like it's like 10 people are there or something, and like 2 of them are the people that work at the school that have to be there. And then they're like, well, I guess it's fucked. I guess we'll do the performance anyway, even though it's all fucked up. And then like they do like the performance or whatever, and they're singing and dancing or whatever, and the power goes out, and it's like, oh shit, well now we're fucked. And then one of the girls does like she starts singing it like while crying, like a cappella or whatever. And then it's like, oh, it's actually like kind of nice to like persevere through whatever. But then the power comes back on, and also it's revealed that the only reason people didn't show up was because the main character was an idiot and told them to come like 10 minutes too late or something. Like she wrote the wrong time on the flyer, and they all came late, and then the whole town shows up, and it's like, oh, we say you say it's all been saved. This moment was for nothing. And that is stolen from the end of the first season of Idolmaster Cinderella Girls, where there's a big live, and then there's a typhoon happens, and the power goes out, and it's like, oh no, everyone's leaving. Because the power, because of the huge storm, and then the characters had to perform anyway, but it was handled much better because it wasn't a dumb bullshit thing that happened. And it was like, oh,
No, it's fine. It's
yeah.
fine though.
Yeah. Anyway.
And closing out on that, because I don't want to talk about that show anymore. Love Live is basically a poor man's Idolmaster.
Yeah.
Now,
Damn.
I know. I
Damn.
have to talk about the Yohane episode because this like
Go for it.
perfectly encapsulates the bullshit with Sunshine in particular that I hate. So Yohane, or Yoshiko, is the Chunibyo character that shows up, and she's by herself is kind of a really cringeworthy Chuni because there's like no, she like does the thing and then is always immediately embarrassed about it after it happened. It's almost like she has like some sort of mental disorder where she can't stop herself from saying chuny things.
Chuny
and then immediately
Asperger's.
and then immediately
Chuny
afterwards it's like she has Tourette's or some shit. And then immediately afterwards she like needs to justify herself existing. So like the very first scene of with her doing the thing is like she's doing like a live stream or whatever, and then she has like a nervous breakdown after that, and then like she like opens up her window and yells from her balcony about how she's a normal human being or something. It's really weird and awkward. And there's like no music. It kind of weirds me out. But the whole thing with that episode is just that she's like, okay, maybe I should stop being a chuny because it's making it really hard for me to live my life normally because people think fucking
God!
Jesus.
Wow! Returned
All right.
special guest phone.
It's time.
Special
Why?
returning guest
No,
phone.
it's Valerie again.
Ah! She knows. She knows. Fuck, Henry. You weren't.
That phone actually legit snapped me back into the conversation. I zoned out for like 10 minutes there. All right, what's happening?
Never mind. Continue.
Okay.
The episode is dumb. Watch it
All
yourself.
right, is it my turn now?
Yeah, it's
I'm
Jordan's
on my
turn.
last thing. I had one last thing because there's no way. I watched 22 episodes of Idolmaster. The show's great. I need to fucking say that.
3 days.
In fucking 3 days. The show's fucking great. It's Waifu Wars, the show. All of them, all of the 13, with the exception of maybe one, is viable.
Yeah, coming around on Dukiho. That's fine.
That's why I said maybe. And
Yeah.
she's okay now because she's not fucking crying about every little thing when she's alone. Because like that is the buildup of. I'm not even gonna go into her too much. All the girls are great to like various degrees, but there is a pantheon, and everyone will have a different one. Like you mentioned your top 3, and I have my own, but
Okay, give me
like
your
that-
top 3. I need to know your
Oh.
top 3. This is important.
So God, I'm gonna suck fucking pronouncing their names. Was it Azusa or Azusa?
Azusa, yeah.
That's my number
Okay.
1.
Okay, that's strong. That's good. She's pure.
Fucking Chihaya
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Good. Correct.
and fucking it's a toss up now between these two for different reasons. Makoto, because her episode was fucking great.
Yeah. Super good.
I'm just gonna say with Makoto there. Like Makoto is fantastic. So those are my top.
That's
3.
good. That's really good. That's a really good top 3. I'm not even gonna judge you, because those are all really strong picks.
Is your top
which-
3 whom's?
The girls and Island, like no one. He's the only one in this whole conversation who will get it.
Yeah. But anyway,
Um,
Chihaya is the correct answer. As long as you have Chihaya in your top 3, then that's all right.
she's fucking great.
Yeah, her episode, man, that's a good one.
Like I was gonna debate between Makoto and Iori, but like I appreciate Makoto a lot. But
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
that's-
she's great.
That's my week.
All right, cool. I like that my opinion is now validated.
No, it's
no
not
one's allowed to make
validated
fun of me
yet.
for like an Idolmaster ever again.
I'm still gonna make fun of you like a shit ton because it's
Yeah,
funny.
well,
Yeah,
but
same.
your opinion doesn't matter, so it's all right.
Okay. So Henry, you
Alright.
haven't been on in a long while. What have you been up
Yeah.
to?
I have not. So what I've been doing.
Well, wait, hold on.
is
Let me
I've been-
explain why you haven't been gone. You've been currently held hostage by a terrorist in your apartment.
Yes. So what happened is my landlord decided to move in a relative, not a relative, like a friend of a relative for a while, maybe about like 2 weeks. And he said, by the way, you have to move to the basement because he doesn't like non-Muslims. And I was like,
Great.
yeah, whatever. I get a discount on my rent. I'll put up with it. But that also meant I had to be very quiet.
And by
And now, to compensate for the fact that I can't be on podcast, instead I have masturbated constantly for the past 12 days.
it's essentially the same thing.
That's
Podcasts
Yeah, the
are
only
very
difference is I can't talk
masturbatory.
while I do it.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm doing it right now.
Oh.
good. Great. I was wondering
and-
what that sound was. Great.
Oh no. No.
Yeah,
not
so
like
that's why I
this.
had to switch to push to talk. Otherwise, there was like this constant.
That wasn't actually
You,
George's
you don't
phone.
want that on the audio.
Yeah, that's why.
Recording.
That's why Henry was saying that he couldn't get on earlier. He was worried that we could all hear the sound.
Yeah, I can hear it from
Yeah.
here, and I live in a completely different state. Like, it's very loud.
James is at least 10 minutes away from me at the least, so he can definitely hear it.
Yeah, at least 10 minutes.
At least 10 minutes.
At least 10 minutes. It's like I'm at least 10 minutes from any given landmark.
Henry.
By the
Any
way, I'm not
Henry?
at home. I'm actually at my parents' house right now, and just to let you know how different this current place
Fuck.
is from where you normally live right now. I got outside earlier. I went out the front door to get a textbook from my car. The first thing I hear immediately is gunshot sounds because someone's hunting, and then
Oh.
followed by at least 3 ambulance sirens.
Are you sure someone was hunting? Were they
All coming
what
from
kind of
different-
hunting
all-
were they doing?
Was
Well,
it for
it
the
came
most
from-
They
dangerous
were
game?
hunting the deadliest game, man.
Yeah.
The direction it came from was the woods, so I'm positive they're hunting. But the ambulances came from a completely different direction.
Man, I feel like an idiot. I just now realized that the title of the most dangerous game is not referring to like a game that's being played, but to like prey and hunt. I'm an idiot.
What would you say if, like, when, after you heard the gunshot, you saw children running through the woods and asking you for help?
I'd laugh. I'd just go back inside.
Fuck
them, they're kids.
All right.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't know what I'd do. That's such a weird question. That's never going to happen.
You say that until that happens. Then
It's
you'll
not
have me
here.
to thank to mentally
There are
prep
no
you.
kids here. This is all like 50-something blue-collar workers.
He caught the children.
Oh. Well, I'll send him a thank you letter.
All right.
Okay.
Alright.
So
Joke, by the way.
Is it?
Mhm.
Yes, it is.
I'm not sure that it is.
I
Mhm.
promise. You can come over to my house and I can prove it's a joke. Bring your kids.
Oh no! No!
I got some cousins I can get rid of, to be honest.
Don't worry, I can help out with that.
Oh
I'm
god.
a 22 somewhere.
All
This
right.
took a dark
was-
turn, and I
Was
love
that
it.
it for your week, buddy? Was that it?
That was it for my week. Masturbation and implying the death of children.
All right.
All right.
Speaking of, we have more talk about death of children later, but
Much
first,
We have to talk about the death of adults. with
George,
James's-
George, it's your turn for your week, buddy.
I guess piggybacking off of what y'all said earlier about
Like
evil
the children
within.
death?
Yes, I bought.
Love it.
Fuck. All right, I bought
I have
Evil
been
Within
murdering dozens of
2.
children.
Yeah, that. Yeah. All right, so I bought Evil Within 2, and I just been playing video games and eating all fucking.
How was your Thanksgiving?
That's pretty exciting.
It was. I'm pretty sure I gained fucking 50 pounds.
Good.
Well, it is Thanksgiving
That's all
break. That's what happens.
That is.
How will
I'm
your
pretty
body
sure
ever
I
recover?
developed type It won't. I have
Yeah,
type
yeah.
2 diabetes now.
Hey.
I've accepted my fate.
Same.
All right, high
But
five.
actually though.
Oh, God.
Get fucked, Skylar. Get fucked.
Get good. Fucking. But yeah, that's all I did, and yeah, I went Black Friday shopping, and I intended to only spend $100. Before I realized it, I spent like $500, and
Damn.
it's fine though. I got all the stuff I want, but
You
I
could have
won't be able
just
to
built
drink
a PC
water.
with that money.
I couldn't. I'm not gonna be able to drink water for like a week now, but that's fine. But yeah, that's all I did.
It's not like water's a human right or anything. Fuck that.
No.
Not.
Fuck
I
that.
sent to Africa. They don't have any water there.
Yeah.
They
And
spend
they're-
their time
It's a fucking
drinking,
it's
they
a
spend their
fucking
time, like,
privilege.
sucking up water from mud puddles.
False. Counterpoint, Lake Chad.
Counterpoint, Virgin Sea.
Yeah, the what? The Virgin Sea?
Yeah.
Is that
What the
real?
fucking retard? It's
The fuck is
Virgin
the
Lake or
Virgin
whatever.
Yeah, Virgin, like the Virgin Basin or something.
The Virgin Basin versus
Virgin
Lake of
Sea.
Chad.
What is it? A fucking reference? What song was that? Not song. What band? God damn it.
The Virgin Sea?
I'm sailing away. Were you referencing I'm
Oh,
sailing away?
Come
babe?
Sail Away by
No,
like
Sail Away,
Styx.
What the fuck is that? No.
It's a Styx song because we're in the 1980s now, apparently.
Apparently,
Well, we're in
I
the
guess.
60s.
God, I hope we're not in the 50s.
Styx wasn't around in the 50s.
2050s.
Oh man, dude, if we were in the 2050s, that'd be sick.
That'd be a really sick 1980s reference. It'd be like
Jojen
referencing, it'd be like referencing like
Superstar.
fucking 1800s, like a fucking like Wagner play.
Dance full. Haha. Got him.
That's
Got
fair, I
him.
guess.
Dab on those heathens.
Oh fuck.
Man,
It's
I'm
gotta
just
say-
imagining like 90-year-old Jake Paul dabbing on haters.
Oh, and then he fucking dies.
He's like fucking. He gets old and he turns into like Don Rickles, but not funny.
So
Oof.
Don Rickles.
So Don Rickles.
Yeah.
Don Rickles.
Well, I mean, in comparison to him.
Huh. Okay. So,
All right.
Skylar, did we get your week yet?
No, we did not.
We'll get your week.
I kind of did some stuff this week since I've had like no fucking free time in the past several weeks. I actually like spent this whole week just doing stuff that I didn't have time to do before. So I finally, after buying it like several months ago, I decided to play Pyre, this new game by Supergiant Games. The guys who made like Transistor and Bastion.
Right.
And that game is pretty fucking cool. It's fairly simple. Like it's basically like a visual novel that has
Gameplay.
it's a visual novel in the same way that something like you'd say Ace Attorney is a visual novel, or on the opposite of Ace Attorney, where it has like kind of constant but limited gameplay. Pyre has kind of infrequent but involved gameplay with the weird like sports game thing. So like the thing that I really like about the game's thing is like it reminds me of Kill 6 Billion Demons in a vague way.
Yeah.
Because
I
like
get that.
the setting is really cool and really unique in the kind of the way that Kill 6 Billion Demons is, and has like this really involved like world building, but without like in-depth resources to explain things to you. So it's just like in text, when people are talking, certain words will be highlighted. Like they won't explain to you like who the scribes are, or like what this word means that they said. But if you like hover over the text that's highlighted, it'll explain to you briefly what it is they're talking about, like what that term means or what they're referring to, what they're alluding to in this thing.
And doesn't it have that thing where if there's a word like that inside the description, you can hover over that also, and it'll go.
I think so. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. And some of the descriptions have like quotes from like characters in universe. And then again, that reminds me a lot of Kill This Billion Demons. Every page of Kill This Billion Demons is accompanied by some sort of short story or parable or quote from like the in-universe like canon religion or whatever.
Right.
And so like that stuff's really cool. The art in it obviously is fantastic. It looks amazing. All the characters look really cool besides Sir Gallant. His design's kind of sucky. I don't like him.
Okay.
But like I don't know. He's like a weird worm knight. Like he's literally like a worm, but he has like a knight helmet on him, and he's kind of talks like a cartoon character of a knight, basically.
Right.
So he's whatever. Yeah, so he's whatever. I don't really care too much for him, but everyone else is cool. And then the structure of the game is really interesting because, like, I guess it's kind of a spoiler, but it's also like a key gameplay component. So I don't know how I feel about explaining it, but it's like so basically the setup is that you have to win these things called like the rights, which are basically like it's
Basketball.
basically like weird football or basketball, yeah, where you have to take a ball that spawns in the center of the map and then dive it into the opponent's pyre. And so the way that gameplay works is that when you score a point, whoever scored the point is eliminated from your team for the next play, unless you throw the ball into the pyre, but that's a whole other gameplay thing. But the way that it's structured is that like if like one of your dudes, let's say like Headwind, who's like the main guy, he scores a point by jumping into the pyre. For the next play, until someone scores again, Headwind is not on your team, so it's 2v3.
Right.
Yeah, so that's kind of interesting. But the thing I was talking about before is that the setup of the game is you're trying to win the rights in order to like leave where you are, which is called like the downside. And if you win the rights, you can earn your freedom because people in the downside have been like exiled there by like because of like they broke the law or something, or for various reasons. And the idea at first is that if you win, that the whole team will be able to go through all at once. But then when you get there, it's revealed that only one person in a team can be liberated at a time. So then once you make it to the first one of these rights, and you choose whoever goes free, then you have to do it like again for every other member of your party. I haven't like beaten the game all the way through, but I've done one liberation right, and I'm about to do the second one. And so it's really interestingly structured. So that's kind of cool. I feel like there's got to be a lot of variation in the way that characters and stuff play out, because like you don't have to win the rights to progress the story. You have to win liberation rights to progress, I'm assuming, because those are the ones that send your teammates home. But winning or losing normal rights doesn't like mean anything, because your team is always eligible for liberation rights because of story shenanigans. They explain that like your team is like the OG team, that all other teams are supposed to be like measured against or something. So your team is always eligible for liberation rights when they happen. So there's no reason really to keep up like an undefeated record to try, except for the fact that it gives you more experience.
Okay. By the way, I looked up the character you're referring to. It's not Sir Gallant. It's Sir Gilman.
You're right.
Sir Gallant is like an actual like other character from something else.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's his name.
But yeah,
the best character design is probably Joe Dariel. Her design is probably the best one. She's really cool.
Is that who I'm thinking of? Let's see.
Don't say girl with the giant.
Yeah, I like her.
Yeah,
I'd grab that bull by the horns.
She'd kill you.
That's fine. Wait, now it's a win-win.
That's what he wants.
It is.
Who are we discussing?
Joe Dariel from Pyre. Maybe if you were paying attention, Henry, you'd know who we were talking about.
Why should I?
Because you're on the podcast, bitch.
Anyway.
Please be patient. I have autism.
No.
Anyway, that game's really cool. Story's really interesting. Like I said, like okay.
Autism?
I think I was gonna say was that as far as variation goes, that there's a part earlier on in the game where you're first given like the choice to pick between like 4 different people to enter the game out of, because only 3 can be playable in a given right. And you have to choose out of your like group of 4. And I decided to not include one of the characters and choose someone else, one of like the OG team members or whatever, and include the new character that was added. And we ended up winning the right. And then when I went back to the wagon after the game, he like was complaining that I didn't like. He was like, "Why didn't you put me in, coach?" Basically, is what he was saying. But then he like
Coach
got
called
over
him a
it.
bitch.
But then he got over it because we won. And I assumed that if we lost, that he would have had a reaction that was different if we lost, and that every character would probably have something like that. And there's a lot of stuff like that in the game where like it's like, man, this interaction probably only exists because of this very specific scenario that I have created because of my decisions that I've made. Which that's pretty cool. Like just like really minute dialogue differences, but still cool nonetheless. So anyway, that's Pyre. That's cool. It's good music, obviously. I feel like they're obligated to have good music in those games, because if they didn't, people would be upset at them. Because that's been like the one constant of all of their games. The soundtrack's been really sick. And that's that. The other game I played was Horizon Zero Dawn. I bought it because it was on sale. I've only played it for like maybe 15 hours around. I just got to the part where you leave like the Nora Holy Lands or whatever, and you open up the big map, and I'm in like the big desert area.
More like the Holy Lands. Am I right, guys? Because basketball jokes.
Why basketball? I'm not talking about Horizon Zero Dawn's got nothing to do with basketball.
I'm sorry. I thought you were. I missed that part. I'm sorry. I thought we were still talking about Pyre. Shit.
No one's
paying
clicking
attention. Sound.
I don't know.
Someone's typing or something.
James, get your hand out of your pants.
It's not in my pants. It's in my pocket. Damn it.
Which pocket? Prison pocket?
The front pocket.
Uh-huh.
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 Anyway,
the one he uses to store his needles.
Yeah. Oh, so many needles. Anyway, please continue, Skylar.
Anyway, that's fucking confusing. Horizon Zero Dawn, that's fun. That's a good game. The one thing I'd say that I didn't expect from it, because I guess I stopped watching promotional material at some point, is that I did not expect there to be such a wide variety of locations in that game. I thought it would all be like some variation of like mountain landscape and like snow, but I'm now in like a huge desert.
Oh.
And so like that's not something I expected to be in that game at all, but it's really cool. And so like I assume there's there's a city that you go to that overlooks this, like it reminds me of like we see like pictures of like renderings of ancient Egypt where it's like giant vistas where you look down over like a desert landscape that has like trees dotting everywhere. Like it's really cool. That's where I'm at right now. So like that game actually like it's super fun to play. I'm playing it on hard, so it's a little bit more of a challenge to do things, but I think that makes it a bit more fun because I constantly every encounter is super intense. There are times when I fight like the giant saber-toothed ones, and like the fight will like carry me like a half mile because I'm like running away constantly, trying not to die, and I just barely manage to win. And it's super fun. Like it's a really cool game. I think everyone knows the game is cool, so I don't have much to say about it other than that. But it's pretty cool.
All right.
Cool. The other things I did is I watched 2 movies this week, both by the same director. The director's name is Masaki Yuasa. You've probably his most notable work people probably know of is he did Ping Pong the Animation, which I think kind of people talk about it enough online. I think it's probably his most popular thing that he's done. People will recognize it. If you follow Demolition D when he existed, he did a video about one of his other shows called the Tatami Galaxy, which is also very good. He did a bunch of other stuff too, like Kaiba, and he did a movie called Mind Game that was really good. Anyway, he has put out 2 movies this year, and he is also putting out a adaptation of Devilman, the anime that's being funded by the old manga, like the old Go Nagai manga. He's doing.
I love Devilman.
Yeah, he's doing Devilman like a what's being billed as like the first faithful adaptation of the manga that exists in anime. And that's being funded by Netflix. It should be out next year. It's called Devilman Crybaby. That looks really good. Anyway, the two movies he put out earlier this year. One of them is an adaptation of a book by the same author as the Tatami Galaxy. I can't say that word. It's really hard for some reason.
Good job.
And the same author also wrote The Eccentric Family. If anyone's seen that, this book is called The Night Is Young, Walk On Girl. And it's like a pseudo spin-off sequel type thing to the Tatami Galaxy. It has some of the same characters in it, but it's like the main characters are completely different people. There's some references to things that happen in the Tatami Galaxy, like for jokes. Basically, there are like joke style references to like plot, quote unquote plot reveals in that show. But it's a super fun movie that's basically just about there's a guy who's like a senior in college or something, and he's like he like knows this girl from one of the clubs that he was in that he likes her, and he's trying to like woo her, but he's super awkward, and so he has this plan of basically just like accidentally running into her in various locations and trying to like, oh man, what a coincidence, we should go out sometime. Basically.
What?
Yeah, well that's like the setup thing, is that like he just kind of like exists around the campus a lot, and so he's like, oh, whenever I run into her, I have to make it a point to mention, oh, it must be fate or something or whatever. And then she's like a fucking girl that likes to drink. And so the plot of the movie basically is that she goes bar hopping like across town, and then crazy bullshit happens. Like there's a dude with a 3-story tall train that like comes into town, and this dude's father that has a wedding that she was at owes money to him or something, and then she challenges him to a drinking competition to like pay off his debt. And it's like a lot of like weird vignettes like that are all like she's doing a bunch of shit like around town all night, and it's kind of hard to explain because it's all just vignettes, but it's really,
so it's just a series. Really it's on film all about like as a series of vignettes.
Yeah, it's a series of vignettes that all take place in the same night, basically.
Okay.
And then at the end of the movie, there's a thing that kind of makes the two characters come together, and it's really fun. It's really goofy. Like it's not like, I'd say that like Yuasa is kind of an artsy director, but he's not like, doesn't take himself super seriously. Like all of his works have a sense of humor to them. This movie's pretty fucking goofy. There's a character in it who fell in love with a girl because he was sitting on a bench, and then someone dropped apples on their heads, and then he never saw the girl ever again. He decided that in order to make sure that his love will eventually come true, he never would change his underwear ever again.
That's fucking gross.
Until he sees her, because if he changes underwear, then the spell will break or something. I don't know.
What was the other movie you saw?
The other movie was Lou Over the Wall, which is basically Ponyo, except with a music theme. And that one was all right. I don't have much to say about it other than that it was animated beautifully. I think it was animated in the same engine as Ping Pong, which means it was animated in Flash.
Okay. So it has a limited number of frames it can have in total. Interesting.
Yeah, it looks really nice, but it's a pretty simple movie. Pretty good. Both would recommend. I recommend Walk On Girl more, but watch Tommy Galaxy first.
All right. Is there anywhere we can find this? Like, is it Crunchyroll or? Walk
On Girl is new as fuck. There's subs that exist. You can acquire them if you want to. Tatami Galaxy,
pirating it.
Tatami Galaxy, I think, is on Hulu. It was for a while, and I'm pretty sure it still is, but I don't know.
All right, cool. So that's everybody's weeks except for mine. My week is pretty short. All week I worked on the latest Dojin Dan video, which is out now on the Dojinshi Dan YouTube channel, where these podcasts are also hosted on. It is Dojinshi Dan's top 10 Dojinshi tags. So everybody should check it out. I put a bit of work into that, a lot more than I did in the first video. So I hope people enjoy it. The original Dojinshi Dan review is almost at 1,000 views right now. Like 930, I think, is the current count. Somebody should check that up for me.
Give me a second.
All right, I went to my local bookstore and I bought the first 3 volumes of Death Note Black Edition, and I've been rereading that. I also beat Evil Within 2, as I mentioned earlier, and I caught up with Made in Abyss,
You're caught up.
Yeah, I caught up today, and
Cool.
what else?
You're 956 views or 954.
Can you explain what the Black Edition of Death Note is? Is it just like a repackaging or something?
It is a repackaging, yes. Of, let's see, Volume 1 has... Oh, yeah, so Volume 1 of Black Edition has Volumes 1 and 2, so the first 16 chapters of Death Note.
It's like omnibus format, basically.
Yes,
Okay.
it's an omnibus format. I have 3 of them. I believe there's...
anything new to it?
No. It's just the original series packed into like a much nicer, smaller collection.
Now the omnibus format thing I bought for the NGE manga comes with like paintings that the author did. Is there anything like that in this version, or is it just the manga?
There's little bits, I think, at the end that seem to be originally drawn, but I can't tell if it is or if that's just how, like, there's a nice 2-page spread of like oh god, it's very stylized drawing of Light and Ryuk, the Shinigami, but I don't know if this is like omnibus original. It seems to be just a straight repackaging. But that's at least for Volume 1. I don't know if Volume 2 has something different. I believe there's 12 volumes total that you can buy on Amazon for like $20, which I will likely be getting.
Yeah, those are pretty cool. I always like the insert art because the guy who drew Death Note, Obata, I think that's his name.
Yes, Obata, Takeshi Obata.
Yeah, his art style is like really cool. Like I'd say that I like Death Note okay, but the best thing about it are his like painting things that he does because they look fucking incredible.
Yes, it is. Oh god, that actually reminds me because I remember the covers for the first like couple of pages are actually colored.
Oh yeah, okay.
So that's cool. So that's probably something that
cool.
shows up in the other omnibuses, is like every volume gets its own. Actually, yeah, let me check the second volume and let me see if that's what chapter? This is chapter 8. So yeah, no, okay, it's just the beginning, like 6 pages. That's a shame. But yeah, I just remember Death Note, being really into Death Note as a kid. It came out in fucking 2003, dude.
Yeah, it's
like there's a 4 coma in the very back that I remember reading because I had this specific volume of Death Note, and it has Ryuk asking Santa for the Game Boy Advance SP.
Oh shit.
The silver version specifically. And I remember when I had a Game Boy Advance SP, I was still at an age where I was correcting people about the name, where they would call it a Game Boy, and I'd be like, no, it's a Game Boy Advance SP. So
you were one of those people.
I was one of those people. So 2003, that's a fucking long ass time.
Yeah, it's been a bit since 2003.
Other than that, I got some cool news from my buddy Henry. About a particular YouTuber
I just want to talk shit for a couple minutes.
Okay, no, but about a particular YouTuber that watched my Dojinshi Dan video and said it had potential, which I thought was cool.
So I talked to Internet Historian in private, and I was like, hey, my friend is doing this Dojin Dan shit, and he was like, wow, that actually has some potential, run with it. It's not my thing, but run with it.
Nice.
That's pretty much the gist of it.
I added sexy sounds just like he requested.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
The
did.
crazy thing
Well,
is like
My
it's
favorite was
easily
when he
marketable.
said he has a microphone, he can make them.
Yeah. What was that, George? You cut off a bit.
I said the thing about it is like it's like easily like it's something that you can like look up and you won't like find that much like bullshit behind it. Like I looked up Dojin Dan and like you're like literally like the only thing.
What's
Like
weird though,
the closest thing.
if you search the word dojinshi, like the first thing I get is like dojinshi Harry Potter shit.
Oh
So
god.
Yeah, I saw that.
so I guess dojinshi is a thing on YouTube, but just never explored, and I'm not gonna fucking explore it. At least not like willingly. Because I don't want to be there. I don't want to go there, man. I don't want to fucking see Harry
You don't wanna go
going to
there.
Ron, like Ron,
You
would
sure?
you like to snog? And it's like, oh man, this is uncomfortable.
Ron, would you like to? No. I feel like Harry is tsundere. It's not like I like you and anything, Babaka.
Babaka, bastard.
Baka.
No, it would be bastard because bastard's English or some shit. I don't know. So yeah, and then I got even better news from internet historian through Henry about a particular unfunny Doug that is totally gonna be worked on over the weekend.
God
So
damn
Yeah,
it.
basically,
look forward to that.
We managed to rework Doug Unfunny into something that would actually be viable, where he very, very painstakingly and autistically overanalyzes like Dilbert.
Nah, it's like just gonna be Dilbert. He just suggested Dilbert.
Yeah,
gonna-
like
I'm-
well, I think he meant Dilbert as like a catch-all for pretty much shit where like the joke is really obvious and right there, but but like regardless, you spend 15 minutes, dissecting it. I feel like if you want to dissect Dilbert, you should pull up Scott Adams' blog. The dude says some fucking crazy shit.
like
The
how
dude
crazy.
is over here like, so Trump is actually going to be good for the economy, and I say this because well, he's beating out the normies, or whatever shit Scott Adams says. But if you don't mind, do you mind if I go ahead and do this shit talking thing for a little bit?
Go ahead. If Skylar can talk about like fucking dumb anime bullshit for an hour, you can talk about a YouTuber for an hour.
Do it.
Do it.
So
do it,
this
though.
isn't going to be very long. As everyone listening knows, there's a lot of retards on YouTube who do politics, and they're on all sides of like the spectrum. You have like No Bullshit, who is completely uninteresting and talks like McLovin, and has a very monotone voice and all that shit. Well, there's another person with a monotone voice who can't be fucked to talk at a normal pace like we do. His name is like Sean, and it's like Sean and Jen, and they're more of like on the left side of things, while No Bullshit is on the right. And sometimes Sean does unfunny drill type jokes on Twitter. I've chuckled at a few of them, but they're usually lame.
Wait,
and I found
define what a drill type joke is.
Drill is a guy on Twitter who says like non sequitur type jokes,
Okay.
and sometimes this guy tweets like drill.
Okay.
Sometimes it's funny. Like he had a funny Time joke recently. He was making fun of the president talking about how Time called him, and Sean on Twitter was like, "Time has called me today. There was some awkward breathing on the other end, and then they hung up. It's the third time today. What's up with them?" It was a little funny, but
Okay.
anyway, there's this one thing on his Twitter from yesterday, and this is like just an attitude that annoys me with people. He tweets, "I am not trustful of PewDiePie. I do not trust him." And I thought it was a joke, right? I was like, it's just another joke. But then someone asked, what did he do this time? And Sean says, "I recall Sips from the DADCast once saying that if he made enough money to retire from YouTube, he would do so immediately. This is the only acceptable outlook for an adult in the reacts to games for kids field. PewDiePie can afford to not be PewDiePie, but continues regardless. I don't understand the desire to create PewDiePie videos." Oh, this is an attitude that I find annoying, where like someone is like enjoys doing something and it makes them money, and they hit a point where they could easily retire, and people are like, "Why are you not retiring? You must. There's something wrong with you. I don't trust
you love
you."
your job.
Yeah, he loves PewDiePie loves doing what he does.
I'm
How does
old
that
and
make him
bitter.
not
Why do you
trustworthy?
like your job? And it's like, because I make Dojin Dan for a living.
Yeah, it's like, oh well, I don't. I feel like his argument is more that PewDiePie is an adult and like he's making videos for children. But why
Right.
should that mean that he's not trustworthy if he's in a position where he can retire?
I like the insinuation
He's
that
not
Dojin
making
Dan
videos.
and PewDiePie are the same level.
Right.
I like the
We are.
insinuation
I
that
I mean, they both do say a lot of racial slurs, so there's that.
Dojin Dan has never said a racial slur.
We get
I
to
like
hear the
the-
real Dojan Dan.
Oh yeah.
But my
I-
thing is like PewDiePie's not making videos with children. He's not like, hey kids, come meet me in person.
Yeah,
He's
that's
making
Jake Paul.
videos that kids watch.
Mm.
Exactly, it's Jake Paul. Jake Paul is someone you should be like. Jake Paul could probably retire.
Logan
But,
Paul. I'm sorry.
he's
Logan
not
Paul's the
someone you
guy
should
that's
trust.
creepy with the 14-year-old girls. Just
Oh
lets them
yeah,
all
yeah,
run
like
up and touch them.
banging other chicks while his girl or his ex-girl or whatever's in the house. Yeah,
Wait,
That's
what?
no, that's just called being alpha. Like that's different. That's alpha or
right.
some
Oh,
shit.
right.
This fucking alpha's fuck dog.
Oh, so
But,
much
like,
alpha.
But what I'm saying is like there's this attitude I see people have where like, oh, you still do this thing even though you could retire. Well, you're dumb. Well, if we took that attitude with entertainment, like a lot of stuff would be boring. Like every musician would be a one-hit wonder, where they would just drop one album and then they disappear. You like Post Malone would already be retired.
Fucking
21 Savage
Iron
retired.
Man. Iron Man would have never made it past like the second movie. The Marvel
Exactly,
Cinematic
right?
Universe would cease to exist.
But it's just annoying. It's like why should someone retire just because they can? Why should they have to? Like,
Jean-Luc
it's really
Godard
rude.
is
It's really
94 and is putting out a movie this year.
Oh fuck,
Who
is
was
he?
that?
Yeah, this year or next year. Yeah, super famous French filmmaker. Started the French New Wave. Still making movies. Put out one a couple years ago.
Started.
Why is he
the
still
new
making
wave.
movies? He used to be retired.
He needs to be retired so I can be old and bitter and right. Yeah.
I guess technically, Truffaut started the French New Wave, but whatever. It's fine. He was one of those guys.
I'll pretend like I know who that person is instead of not.
Someone will know. Someone will know who it is.
It'll be you when you re-listen to this podcast. And like,
Yeah,
yeah,
you're
maybe
right.
that Skylar
Yeah,
guy.
I was right. I'll know that I was right.
Fucking just imagine Skylar masturbating to his fucking Kino talk over a
You're right.
podcast.
You're right. I love my Kino talk.
God, I hate it so much. Fucking dominates this goddamn podcast. Holy shit.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Is that your dad just yelling at you or some shit?
Yeah, he's showing that there's food.
Oh. Stop talking to your fucking friends. It's gay. Eat food.
gay friends.
Gay friends. So yeah.
I'm done shit talking, by the way.
Oh, that's cool. That's
I'm
pretty
sure
much
in the
everybody.
future when he finally notices me and wants to argue with me, he'll pull this up.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You should talk me behind my back. How dare you?
How
Oh, no.
could you? I'm gonna
Sign
somehow
of
argue that
weakness.
this is hypocrisy.
Like one thing he does is like he pulled tweets from Ian Miles Chong, who, widely renowned for being a huge retard. Like he pulled a tweet from Chong from like 2014 where he said that Cuphead might be racist because it uses Fleischer animation style. And then him
Yeah.
now being like, why are people calling it racist? It's dumb. And then calling it hypocrisy. But it's like, guess what? People kind of change views over time. That's why I
In
never
the
got the
same-
shit like Trump having really old tweets about politics or Hillary Clinton being a Goldwater girl when she was 18.
But
like-
what is Goldwater Girl?
So way back, right after integration, there's a guy called Barry Goldwater running as an independent. And he kind of won every southern state during his election. You want to know why?
Racism?
Because he wanted to he wanted to resegregate.
Ah,
That's
great.
exactly why he won.
Oh boy.
Oh.
So
But
George,
he was
George
running as-
wasn't wrong. Great.
Anyway,
Ah,
did you guys, did you on the same vein? Going back to Cuphead, did you see those people that were talking about how the Cuphead was whitewashing because it didn't have the racist depictions of black people in it?
Oh yeah, that's something Sean talks
He-
about too on his Twitter. He
What?
says there's no
Not
real
real.
outrage. He was like, oh, no
That's-
one's calling Cuphead racist.
That's not real. Please tell me that's real.
I saw
There-
I saw an article about it. I don't know if someone is. If
There's
people actually
more-
get upset about that.
There's more outrage over people upset over it as there are people actually upset over it. That's kind of how outrage tends to work now.
Yeah,
But
I was
it
just
doesn't mean
baffled. I
that-
even saw an article that was published on a fucking website about
Yeah.
how it was
Well-
whitewashing this depictions of black people from.
Well,
old
remember,
cartoons.
Skylar, I
By
read an
not
article
being racist.
yesterday. Remember an article yesterday about how
No, I don't. I
the
don't
alt right
remember.
is trying to get into the
Can you
furry
read it to me
community.
again, James? James, can you read it to me again? I don't remember.
I
Maybe
could-
it'll be there in Cuphead too.
Oh,
Well,
oh,
because the thing, I
Those
remember
Cuphead furries.
the thing that
Those
they
puppies.
the thing that they pointed out about it in the article was that one of the characters, like the clown or whatever, is very clearly a reference to the clown in Betty Boop, an old Betty Boop. Betty Boop does Snow White. That one, where there's a clown in that's rotoscoped of Cab Calloway, where it's like him
Oh,
dancing and
yeah.
singing.
Wasn't that like Minnie the
Yeah.
Moocher? The song?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the song was St. James Infirmary. Yeah, and so like that's a really famous clip of Cab Calloway singing and dancing St. James Infirmary, and as he's rotoscoped as like a clown, a ghost clown thing.
Yeah,
And
they're calling
like,
it
oh,
racist 'cause they didn't
that's
just pick Cab Calloway.
yeah, that was what I was watching then because it wasn't Cab Calloway, but now that they have just avoided it entirely by just making it like a clown, that they're like, why didn't you make it a black guy? Why are there no black guys in this game? And I was like, how about you go fuck yourself?
It's
We
like
just-
normal non-black, like normal like white people even looked kind of weird in that style.
yeah,
It like if you just draw them as a normal person in like Fleischer animation, not just black people, but just people in general, it looks really like weird.
yeah, because that's why
But
almost
wasn't
all their
everybody-
characters were animals.
Yeah, like everybody in Cuphead was just an animal, right? Pretty much.
Right.
There was there was the pirate guy. I think he's the only normal human in the game.
but he's a fucking
Yeah.
reference to Popeye. or
Yeah,
something.
he's
Yeah.
a huge like Bluto type reference.
Well, there was
Yeah.
that one Sally Stage Play. Sally Stage Play is just a girl, like a woman.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah,
That's what you think, but really, it's a trap.
But really, yep.
But everyone else is like a big giant carrot or a mermaid lady.
There's a woman in that
a
like
robot.
cake tower, like the woman who's in the cake kingdom. Like, there's not many human-ish characters, but they exist.
Yeah, there's a couple. And it's
By
like
everybody.
yeah. It's just like I feel like it's just the idea is that like they took the things from that animation style that were cool, that everyone likes and remembers and referenced them in cool ways, and really expertly, deftly ignored all the things that everyone tries to forget about that era of animation as well. Which I think it was it's pretty cool, and I feel like even trying to bring up that kind of thing with Cuphead is dumb.
It's not necessary.
Yeah, not necessary at all.
I understand having the conversation around. Oh, by the way, the word Nazi is trending on Twitter right now. But
Oh,
I understand having a conversation about Fleischer animation.
Oh
and
my
stuff
God.
like that.
What's that?
But it's so weird.
what's that noise?
That
Yeah,
was-
like- Talking about Fleischer animation in that way, I think it is a conversation that's worthwhile. But talking about Cuphead in that respect is not, because it's taking influence from a style. Well,
Yeah.
like that's how influence works. Is you're influenced by something, and then there's parts of it that you don't use, so you make your own, essentially.
I mean, yeah.
Right.
I mean, I do like the depiction of like. Oh, shit. I do like the depiction of like things that were fucked up from our past, like in Mafia 3, games like from Mafia 3 or Wolfenstein 2, when it's like during times when there were like fucked up things.
Well, yeah, because that's kind of the point of like the
Yeah.
games like that.
I
Where they use it
mean,
as like a main theme or something.
Yeah,
like
but
it's
a lot of games like try to bypass that. Like the Holocaust is hardly ever brought up in like 90% of like the World War II games, which is like I guess you could say a disservice, but
I think that's interesting. Yeah, I can't remember if there's any of those like Medal of Honor or Call of Duty games that actually like have concentration camps in them, like, or anything. But that's too morbid for the kind of thing they were trying to go for with those games.
I think Call of Duty Black Ops Zombies had like a concentration camp level.
Well, yeah, but that
somewhere.
level, yeah,
was my favorite, yeah.
It did have a concentration camp level.
But its concentration is in you're trying to learn how to concentrate better. It's a big Adderall warehouse.
God damn.
Fucking goddamn it.
Apparently, Call of Duty World War II will depicts the Holocaust.
I'm sure it will be very tasteful.
no,
You
I
show
feel like
up
they
and, like-
actually are with this one. I feel like they will actually try.
Oh,
I don't know,
You show
dude.
up and you
There's
give all-
that line. in the trailer where the guy's like, they're going after the Jews, and it makes me laugh every time it says it.
If they
That's
want to
not
really
real,
handle
right?
it with
Yeah, go
like,
look
respect,
at any trailer for
God.
World War II, and he was like, there's a line. It was like, they're targeting the Jews.
This can't be real.
It makes me
This
laugh.
can't be real.
the troops show up in the concentration camp. What do we do, Sergeant? Give them guns. They arm the people still in the camp.
And they're like, why are you giving me this? I just want some bread.
Can I eat this? No.
Yes.
And then
What are
after
you,
you win,
Nazi?
it's like, good job, guys. Hit the showers, and then they all just
guys, all right,
try
guys,
in fear.
guys. I looked it up. You walk through a concentration camp that has been. It seems to have been burned down. So you're seeing the remains of a concentration camp.
Who's
Still don't have the balls to do it.
Is this going to be in like?
Alright,
who are you
that's
going to be
good.
playing when you do this?
You're playing
Russian?
an American soldier because he's using an M1 Garand.
So why the fuck? Why the that doesn't make sense.
What do you mean? It doesn't make sense.
All the concentration camps were like on the east half of Germany and Poland and shit. Why would an American be touching them at all?
I don't
Unless
know,
this is like
dude.
post-war.
Hey man,
No,
I
it's
saw
not.
Band of Brothers. There's a part in Band of Brothers where some guys find.
There must be a couple. There's got to be a
yeah.
couple.
There's
But it
actually
wouldn't have been a death camp. All the death camps were to the east. It would have been like a labor camp.
it's some sort of camp because I'm looking through
There's
like
tents.
the bunkers. The bunkers have like there's tick marks marked on them, like counting tick marks, and things like SOS, here, brain,
Kilroy.
off last day, save us. So these are somebody fucking was writing stuff down on all this. Oh, God, and there are photos of people hung up on poles, and I believe they're dead.
Okay.
Nah,
Oh,
they're
just
just
fucking-
resting.
Probably dead.
What'll make
No,
this
James,
not
they're just
tasteful of it,
resting.
if they, what'll make it not tasteful is they make this into a multiplayer level.
It's the only one available.
Yeah, that's pretty
Mm-mm.
good.
One of
Or
the
it cannot tasteful if you have to escape the concentration camp on a motorcycle while explosions are happening in the background everywhere.
one of the kill streaks is that all the players that are currently in the shower section get locked in.
Oh, and then we learn the background of Nova Gas, and it all blinks back to Black Ops. Perfect.
Fuck.
It's like you ever play like the GoldenEye shooter on like the Xbox or whatever, where there's like the traps on the map. That's one of them.
What?
Yeah, there's like the GoldenEye shooter. The
No.
remake.
Traps where on the map? Where?
Oh,
On
gosh.
in that game, every single map had like traps.
Oh my god! I
You
need
press
this.
a button. You like there's a map that's in like Cape Canaveral or whatever, and there's like the spaceship is there, and you can press a button to activate the thrusters while it's still in the thing, and you like incinerate people that are all on the bottom, like all shit like that. Like you press a button and activate like the trap and stuff. So you just have that. You and there's the one trap in the whole game, and it locks you in the shower, and it turns the gas on, and you die.
Damn,
That's it.
That.
Yeah,
be morbid.
all right. So you're kind of you kind of just walk through the camp. It seems you're looking for. It seems like you're looking for like one
Hitler.
of your looking for one of your squad mates or something who might have been captured at some point. So,
I really want
looking
the
for Hitler.
protagonist for the game to just like be on a quest to find Hitler personally. Where is he? Tell me
Well,
where's
that's
Hitler.
Wolfenstein too.
I want to be
Yeah,
I want
that's
Hitler to be like
Wolfenstein
a pre-order day one DLC character.
Yeah.
Well, you
Have
do
you-
see Hitler in Wolfenstein 2, so
Yeah,
that's
you
cool.
are
That's,
Hitler.
that's a whole
You
different
have to
game.
act for him. You have to act for Hitler.
Yeah, act for Hitler
God.
while he fucking vomits all over the place because he's sick
Yeah,
as fuck.
you have to act yourself to
Yeah.
Hitler.
So yeah, I guess Call of Duty World War II shows the Holocaust, at least by having you walk through a concentration camp at least once. So cool. No, you don't get to see any Jews. You don't get to see any like tortured Jews or anything.
Better.
Oh, I don't know.
I mean,
feel-
at least
should
it's
stop this
something.
joke
It's more than most games would do. So
that's
I should
true,
stop that joke. People will think I mean it.
But you do.
I
mean
already
it.
do. Yeah.
Oh, well, I don't, so.
Remember that time Henry and I shook hands, and then he immediately tried to scroll a bunch of numbers and letters on my arm, like against my wrist.
Oh, yeah, I
Al-
remember.
almost as if he was trying to mark me. It was weird.
It was just going to be a huge Xavier Renegade Angel reference, don't worry.
Oh, okay.
Oh god, that fucking show.
So Claude and George, you guys saw a little ditty the other day.
Did he? Oh, hold
Diddy.
up.
Did he?
Hold
Diddy
up.
titty.
Something needs to happen first.
What?
All right. Everyone in the audience, all 20 of you now, I guess, because it's 20 now.
Yep.
Should call over your families, sit down, get a nice drink, and get ready for the third Naruto waifu cast.
Oh, okay.
Oh, fucking hell.
Who won last week? Who won last week? I wasn't here.
Last week was Onko. We had 2 votes for viable and 1 vote for non-viable.
Was it okay? She's viable, but only pre-Shippuden. Before.
Nah,
Well,
she's still kind of
I
viable.
said she was non-viable because she had so much going for her. Like there was a lot there, and she's great, but they did nothing with her. And there's so many people in the cast who outshine her, so I unfortunately had to say non-viable.
But the fishnets.
Fishnets are fucking great, but she got fucking fat because you know what? That was last week. Don't worry about that, folks. You can go back for that one, and then 1010s was not voted on, so that will remain inconclusive in favor of Skylar. But this week, the waifu we will argue on is Tamari.
Do you remember who?
No,
Oh,
I pick
Tamari.
him off the top. Tamari's so fucking cool. I usually pick him just off the top, and I didn't.
Tamari's
pick-
pretty strong.
Tamari's fucking great.
She's
Like-
like the obvious best girl besides Hinata. Like
I was
Hinata's
about
like
to
the
say
one,
Hina's
but Tamari's like cool.
like that fucking weasel she had when she was going to help Shikamaru out. The fucking one-eyed Wonder Weasel.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Shit.
Yeah, she never used it again, but I didn't forget.
Never again. Never used it again. Her Shippuden design's fantastic. Also, she looks fucking cool in that, despite never doing anything ever. That's the thing with Naruto, is that characters show up and like, man, they're so cool, and then they never do anything. The only character that ever did anything besides the main group of heroes is Neji, and that was fucking Dai.
No. Not just die, but die just to tell Naruto to fuck his cousin.
Yeah, do it.
Wait.
Protect
That's
her
real
with your
West Virginia
penis.
love.
Wait. To fuck his cousin. Alright.
Yeah, when he died, he died. He told Naruto that he did the anime version of "Please fuck my cousin," which is "Please protect them for me."
I think like the explicit phrasing was when you gonna hit
Titties.
that, and then he just like fucking died.
I mean, yeah, and he coughed up some blood, and then he died.
No, he
Listen,
whispers
And you just
Naruto.
jab on him.
I still hold true to the idea that he just whispers the word titties into Naruto's ear.
And then he just knows.
Mm-hmm.
And then Hiyashi is like, "Dude, thanks, Neji. To the end, you worked for my eugenics plan.
He did. He
Mm.
super did.
Pushing it.
Mm.
What a fucking
Oh.
what a card. What a fucking ringer Neji is."
Tamari will be saved for, or not Tamari. Hinata though will be saved for I don't know, special occasion. Her and Sakura, those two are polar opposites, both being saved for.
Everyone
somewhere.
knows everyone's answer about Sakura. There's no one.
Oh, I know, but that doesn't mean the discussion doesn't need to be had.
All right.
Fucking anyone else have like comments on Tamari before we do the viable, not viable vote?
I'm really glad she got shipped with Shikamaru, because that is just a fucking A-class couple.
Yeah, that's like
Agreed.
S tier OTP. Only like it's like the only secondary couple I can think of that matches it in any other anime is like Riza, Hawkeye, and Mustang from FMA.
Yeah, that's fucking good.
Yeah.
But yeah, anything else? Because if not, we can do our votes.
Her fan is cool. I like
Good.
it.
Can't,
Friends that can
like,
cut you.
Design in general is fucking great.
Oh,
I love
also,
her first fight, huh?
Also, the fact that she's adopted. She's not actually related to Gaara and Kikamaru.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
Kankuro.
Kankuro. Yeah, she's
Oh,
adopted.
cool. Fuck.
Kankuro.
Kakarot.
Puppet
I
Man.
hate, I hate that guy.
Master of Puppets. His name is Master of Puppets.
In JoJo, he'd be Master of Puppets.
Yeah.
Fucking.
Why wasn't that Kakyoin? Why wasn't Kakyoin Master of Puppets?
No, he
That's
forgot.
before
Don't
he was
worry about it.
dedicated to
Is it-
everyone
is-
he named after something.
Is it because he forgot that that Hierophant Green could puppet people? Is that why?
He forgot near instantly.
Man. I just came up
Emerald
with a cool power for
Splasher.
this character, and now Emerald Splash.
Well, it's because that power is too useful. It would have solved way too many problems.
Yeah, just like
If
being
you
able to
have
clone
people-
yourself.
No
Or
one
like
mentioned
the fucking
Like-
hand with literally any enemy you run into, just swipe them out of existence.
Yeah,
Jesus.
fucking.
All right. To be fair, what's his name? The dude that can do that. He's a fucking
Okuyasu.
idiot.
Well, yeah, that's the thing is that his power is broken as fuck, but it's balanced by him being actually like mentally handicapped.
Like, yeah, so that works, but in some instances, like, why didn't you? Like when he was doing what was it, Superfly, the radio tower?
Yeah,
Why didn't
Yeah,
he just
dude.
swipe it?
that's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, the thing
Because
is that-
remember,
because-
Okuyasu's retarded.
Yeah,
Even that, like they were both sides. All right, let's fuck this thing up, and they fucked up the tower. I mean, of course, it reverberated out and hit him, but he would have known that beforehand. If he was already planning on attacking, why wouldn't he, like he always does, have his overconfidence in his right hand and be like, all right, retarded or not, he could have just swiped away at that tower and then solved the problem.
Maybe
Because
he
it wouldn't have hit the stand owner because he mentioned himself is not connected to him anymore.
Maybe
It
he,
does-
maybe he jerked off a little bit and like he was sore. He was like, my hand's really
Maybe.
cramped.
Imagine accidentally wiping your dick out if you had the hand.
Oh,
You might as well
God.
just wipe your hand out of existence and kill yourself.
It's
Good
it's
God.
not his hand. It's the stand's hand. Do you
But
jerk?
how
else is
Why
that
would
give
you
yourself
jerk himself?
Gotta switch
off
things
with
up
the hand?
sometimes, man.
Because he
Gotta
wants a
switch things
stranger.
up.
The stranger.
By the way, let me put it in a simpler way that you can understand.
Stone
He
Free
is
gives the best
retarded.
hand jobs.
Does she though?
Yeah, because she like rap. She can edge really good because she has all the raps. She can wrap it up.
Who's
It's like
this?
fucking the Stone Free from Part 6.
Jolene's.
oh yeah,
stand.
Oh, the person I don't know. Okay.
yeah. Well,
No,
that's
what
your
about
fault.
fucking? Oh, never mind. That would be James's vote. I just forgot how it worked. Was it
Foo
fucking-
Fighters?
no, not Foo Fighters. The dude who
Yeah,
like
Foo
Part
Fighters
3.
though. We're talking about the guy
yeah,
who turns people into
Emirates?
children, right?
Oh God.
No. Unless he and wasn't Bassett.
I can't remember his fucking
Um,
stand's name. Turns
yeah.
people into
Yeah, that's-
children.
That's the James stand. Oh, we are so fucking
Yeah.
far off topic. We can continue this
are.
if you want. But yeah, viable for Tamari. That's my vote.
She's viable.
Viable.
So
No
when we're
idea.
done with once we get through all the Naruto waifus, we should actually put them into ranks, like S
Like
to F.
tiers.
Yeah, tiers.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, because I'm gonna say Tamari is like solid B or A tier.
She's
think
A
she's-
tier.
She's A tier in Naruto.
Yeah.
Because Naruto has some pretty trash tier waifus, to be honest.
It does.
Oh,
Karen's
How many of them,
Karen is S tier because she cucks Sakura.
Karen is
No,
not
that's a
S
lot.
tier.
That was a misdirection. I already
Yup.
explained this to you.
I
Oh,
know, but I
why?
want my headcanon. My headcanon is that it's
Is that she actually cucked Sakura?
yeah. Sakura just thought
That
she
would-
was pregnant.
Poor
That would be-
salad.
Poor salad. No, like I made a list of the waifus, like, or not even waifus, just the fucking girls, because not all of them are viable. And I'll pick one out at random each time. But yeah, we can
cross them
definitely
off
do that.
when we do them.
Oh no, I already got rid of them. Like Anko, Tamari, and
10-10.
10-10.
10-10 are all off that list. There's like
You already forgot the 10-10 existed. That's all right.
like the writer of the series, but not like the
Mhm.
studio who made the filler.
Oh,
Right.
oh.
James, have you been watching Twitch chat at all?
No, is there people talking?
Me and your brother.
Oh. Oh. No! God, I fucking hate Lewis. God damn it. What's he saying?
That's amazing. For clarification, James's brother is 12 years old.
He
So
popped in to say that he was here, James, and he said, "Hey, it's Jake here," and he asked me who Claude is.
What?
That's fine. That's fine.
He's friends with you on PSN and he doesn't even know who you are.
I don't go by. I've never given him my actual name.
I thought you did. I
Oh,
know
no,
I
he
prefer
wants, he wants your Discord name.
you've said it out loud, but you never told him how to spell it, and you spelled weird, so he couldn't find it. Probably. Because if you just told me your PSN name, I wouldn't know what it was. I would assume that it was the spelling of it that it is not.
Well, yeah. Yeah, nothing else there.
Dead air.
Well,
I don't remember what we were supposed to do next.
we were supposed to trash on Transformers.
Transformers.
Oh,
I didn't see it.
Transformers?
I mean, in Justice League.
Injustice
Oh,
2.
God.
Let's talk about
Injustice League
Injustice 2.
Let's do it.
Injustice 2 conversation, y'all. Fucking,
All
I learned
right.
how Nightwing died, and that shit was funny as fuck.
Yeah.
Mm.
Someone explain that,
Himself in the
please.
face.
All right.
Some
What happened?
weekend at Bernie's, bro. That was some weekend at Bernie's bullshit.
All right.
man.
So what happens to
Actually
Nightwing is that him and Damian Wayne get into an argument, and Damian throws his like little baton at Nightwing. It hits Nightwing on the head, who gets dizzy and then falls on like neck first onto a rock that paralyzes and kills him instantly.
It's fucking great.
Because fuck
Like-
you.
And
That reminds
ending
me
to
of,
top
like-
Christopher Reeves himself.
That reminds me of like the Final Fantasy X book side story where Titus kicks the bomb that he thinks is a blitz ball and dies.
God. Fucking Jesus.
God.
I want the book to end like right there, like Yuna's like, I'm sick of this shit.
Hey, Claude.
Yeah, let's play blitz ball.
What's up?
Just fucking stupid.
Jesus.
So tell
Okay.
me, yeah, you gonna start, George? You gonna start it out?
Nah, you go first, Claude. You have way more opinions on this.
I fucking hate that movie. That's my opinion. Holy shit. Have I never seen such a fucking masturbatory fest to a single character as I have Superman's treatment in that movie? Fucking
I mean-
half Batman's conversations are like, oh, if only Superman's here with his nice abs and his chiseled fucking chest and his CGI
Keep
mustache and his
Oh,
fucking
Oh, God. He was so fucking ugly. It was
Like-
I didn't know you can feel an uncanny valley for a top lip, man. That was bad.
Oh, man, like a lot of this movie just had so many elements I fucking hated. Like the Flash is my favorite DC character, and they actually made him shit tier in this. Like the shit, like he doesn't act anything like any version of the Flash. The closest you could say is the Wally West Flash, but even then, he's not that goofy. This one was legitimately borderline autistic with how he was talking about some things, like. Like there was the tense scene where you didn't know what was gonna happen, and like people were kind of at odds, and he's like, "Hey guys, this might be a bad time, but I need to bring up my blood sugar. I'm getting kind of hungry." Fuck you. Fuck whoever thought that was like a good character, like good note for the Flash. Fucking one of the great fucking DC heroes, saved the universe multiple times. Motherfuckers talking about he needs his fucking insulin shots and shit.
All right.
Yeah, my ankle.
Are
Literally
you done?
handicapped.
You
Literally
have more to say.
handicapped. The fastest man alive.
Was that it, Claude? Or was
No,
there
I mean there's a
more?
lot more. I'll let you. I mean, if you want me to rail on it
Alright.
first, then sure. Because, all right. So this is part of my bias. Like, yeah, I said the Flash is my favorite hero, and they ruined him. I personally hate Superman as a character. Like, I mean, I liked him in the animated series, the Justice League show, and some comic stories. Like, he has some good stuff out there. But for the most part, I don't like it because he doesn't even fucking stub his perfect little super toes as Clark Kent. Unless, like, it's to, like, fool people into thinking he's not, like, you know, oh, he needs to have some faults. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, he wears clothes 3 sizes too big, and he speaks it with his voice at 2 octaves higher so people can, like, not tell. Whatever. But, like, this movie felt like quote, "Hey, do you remember how great Superman is?" Unquote. Like that was there was a ton of like scenes where Batman, who hated Superman till the end of Batman Superman, was talking about Superman and how he's always right and how he would have been the greatest leader and the greatest hero.
You know
and
what?
at the
No, I was just gonna say you're right. You're right on a lot of this, but it is. I guess they're trying to make up, like, because in Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, they shit on that man so hard, and it was
Same
pretty
in
much a
versus-
masturbatory fest. Huh?
It was the same kind of thing in Man of Steel, where Superman in that movie also was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna murder the bad guy."
Yeah, they're like
Okay.
trying to make up for it.
That part
'Cause-
I forgive because he was literally about to laser those two people, and Superman had
There
one choice.
was
That one.
there was other things. He could fucking fly. Pick
Those
him
two could do-
up. He had him in a chokehold. Go up. Problem solved.
Is the problem solved? Is it really? Because even then, like, they were so at odds with each. I'm not gonna defend that movie. I'm not gonna defend that.
Defend
That was just the
Manfield
one.
to me.
No, that was just the one scene. I'm like, okay, people harp on that one, but he didn't have a choice. So
But
I'm
I mean,
like,
that
okay,
was
whatever.
that was like the culmination of the whole scene where he basically 9/11's New York like 20 times.
Oh man, that's just bad. I mean,
That was great.
I didn't like that movie, and I won't defend that. But like, one of the big things in this is that, like, at the end of the movie, when they're having their like desperate fight with the incredibly bland and forgettable supervillain, Superman arrives. And it's not like most hero movies where the hero comes and like it like that's like the okay, like we were almost there, but we need a little push, and then this person came to help. No, Superman comes in and trivializes the issue. Wonder Woman and Aquaman were fighting against Steppenwolf and like struggling to keep him away from Cyclops. I said Cyclops. I don't know why.
Cyborg?
To keep him away from
Cyclops.
Cyborg. I get really passionate and mad, and I guess Superman and like Cyclops.
Compared to
come together, whatever.
Superman, Cyclops is an admirable hero.
No, actually, no.
fucking
You can
false.
actually eat a dick.
How
All
about
the way
that?
around.
Oh, really?
Like fucking.
No.
All right, so Superman, like they are having a hard time. Wonder Woman and Aquaman together, keeping him from getting to Cyborg. Like, and then Superman comes in, and there's so many slow motion shots of like, oh, you didn't know Superman was this fast, did you? Even though we showed you he's on par with the Flash, we'll have him like just trump and shit on the villain in like 2 punches, and then Batman was like, "Oh, we're glad you're here." And he starts licking his fucking lips because he's been talking shit and like daydreaming about Clark Kent's dick this whole movie, basically. And then Superman's like, "Oh, we need to go help these people." And then he catches up to where the Flash is, and they're having a small conversation, and they break off in 2 different directions to save people. The Flash finds this family of 4 who are in the back of a car that's stalled out, and he pushes them, I don't know how far enough to get away from the damage at super speed, to the point where I'm like, those children were holding on to the car by their own children's strength. Their necks should have snapped when he stopped instantly. But whatever, let's just let that go. And he's like, all right, you 4 are safe. And then he looks to the right, and like Superman is flying past him with an entire apartment complex on his back. Like, one, infrastructure doesn't work like that, but whatever. But it becomes weird when you think about it. It was like Superman went a complete opposite direction of you. Why is it that you, fastest man alive, caught up with the car, pushed it a far distance, and then as you finish that, you look to the side, Superman, who went to the other side of the city from you, picked up an entire apartment complex, and instead of flying a different direction out, he flew back over the danger and past you to show you that, oh wait, I can save people better than you and faster than you, apparently. Like, fucking, he gets on the ground, lands next to him, like fucking breakdances, and just goes, "You're too slow." Like that's basically what he fucking does.
Come on, catch up. Come on, pick it up.
It's honestly like Superman as a character is just a terrible idea. Let's give this guy all of these powers, not give him a tragic backstory, but just, give him a backstory where he's just like a space refugee, and then he never learns it until he becomes an adult or whatever. And then, by the way, let's give him no weakness except for some weird space rock that
Superman
rarely
is
comes up.
fine when he's like an ideal. Like, all of the best Superman stories are the ones where he is like basically like an unwavering, like he is like the personification of like justice as a concept.
When you try to
those are the
make
ones that
Superman
work.
human,
Right,
he
someone
becomes
also
terrible.
Superman.
Yeah, gotta agree with you.
When you try to make Superman human, he becomes the worst possible person.
Yeah, because
Right.
people try to like make him like, oh, look at him, he's brooding. Fucking no. Dude, he has
Yeah.
nothing to brood about because like
Makes
no
if
sense.
anyone tries to hurt him, he can just like bitch slap them into submission.
Like,
I'm
It's
so
basically-
powerful, even dicking Lois Lane, it could potentially kill her. But oh god,
yes.
I'm so sad about my parents.
Oh no,
There's a-
Kevin Spacey stabbed me with a rock, and now I'm.
so there's a
Superman
actually,
chooses to live as a gay man.
there's a side comic. There's a side comic that like it's not related to this, but I wanted to bring up because you mentioned him having sex. It's called The Pro, and it's basically this fucking like drugged out prostitute who joined that world's version of the Justice League, and she had sex with Superman. And right when he's about to finish, he pushes her off, and his cum shot fucking goes through the ceiling and like hits the wing of a plane. And
Wait.
crashes.
No. That's just a ripoff of I Am Legend. That happened in I Am
What are you
Legend.
talking about?
I am Legend. Like
Or Hancock.
Fucking
Hancock.
Stupid.
Hancock.
Oh, Hancock.
You mean
I Am
that's a
Legend.
ripoff
The
of something
movie
that
with
came?
Will Smith. That's the only thing they have in common. You piece of shit.
Yeah, you're right. That is a ripoff of something that came like fucking 5 years after it. Go kill yourself.
Hey, fuck you, I didn't know. Bitch.
Don't claim it's a ripoff if you don't know.
Well, you didn't
But is it
specify
a
a
ripoff?
year.
I didn't have to. You just came out of nowhere saying it's a ripoff.
Yeah.
But what year was it though?
Let's see.
That-
The Pro is
fact check-
old. But give me a second to look
Fact
this up.
checking will kill this podcast.
Oh, yeah, let's just leave it
Can we
alone.
get
It's
a-
older now.
Can we get a cans.wav for the podcast, please?
Fucking wait, what?
Okay, that's a long story. There was this guy who did like a capitalism podcast or whatever, and there's a soundbite he would play when he got mad that was like the noise of him knocking dozens of empty beer cans off of his desk. And the thing was repeat for almost a full minute.
What?
Just Google, just go on YouTube and type in ghost cans.wav.
Alright,
I'm gonna. I'll check that out after
that's
this
pretty-
podcast. That
that's
sounds
pretty
pretty
funny.
funny though.
That's pretty okay.
Yeah, like my last note on that is like it felt like if you look at a movie like Avengers, the first one, literally everyone down to the smallest character was doing something. Hawkeye was thinning out numbers from the sky. Fucking Captain America and Black Widow were taking care of people on the ground. Captain America mostly like saving other people, while Black Widow went to like get the scepter. Like they were all doing something. In this, once you contextualize it after finishing the movie, it's more like Wonder Woman and Aquaman existed to stall the villain until Superman got there. Because Superman got there, fucking punched him twice after saving the people, and like the villain struggled to get back up to his feet. And then like the main thing that were all over the place were parademons, which their whole deal, I guess they hunt you down based off your fear or whatever. And like Steppenwolf was like, "How is this possible? How is it?" And then like Bruce Wayne, Batman makes a line like, "Oh, you didn't notice it yet? You're afraid." And all the parademons look at Steppenwolf. He's like, "Oh yeah, he's right. He is afraid." And then they all attack him at once, and he gets sucked up through a boom tube, and that's how they take care of the villain. Like that's the end of the movie and then it shows everyone living their lives, and probably the worst looking run cycle I've ever seen for the Flash.
Oh,
That shit
yeah.
looked dopey. Like that shit looked like fucking dog shit.
Yeah, it didn't look
And-
worse than the CW show.
No, way worse. Way worse. I don't know if I
That's
can find a clip for you. I'm gonna send to you. Like, you know how people praised Assassin's Creed Origin on the fact that the camels look like bullshit when they're running because that's what
Yeah,
they
they have
actually look like
they have
running.
good run cycles. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what the Flash looks like running.
Oh
Like
wow.
it's actual camel shit.
Oh, he's like bouncing all over the place.
He does. It looks like if an alien being like watched like one person run, and then he tried, and he was like, "Yes, this is how humans would run."
I've done it.
Like that's what it feels like to see him run in that scene. And then the after credit scene is like the shitty looking Lex Luthor, because it's still Jesse Eisenberg, and it's like, "Oh, I'm gonna form the Legion of Doom in the next movie." I know you guys wanted to see Darkseid or something that actually had some weight to it, since Steppenwolf was a huge bitch the moment Superman put his dick on the table. But no, you're gonna get more of me, even though I'm probably the most controversial and least liked thing in the DC EU.
No, you love it.
Those are my notes. You can go for it, George, and I will hold my venomous tongue until you are done.
Okay. All right. Well. Okay. So what you said, based off of what you said, also since fucking.
Oh fuck! I'm
All
looking. I'm
right.
sorry. I'm looking at the Assassin's Creed Camel Run. Oh fuck!
Oh.
Fuck.
All right. I
That's-
personally, I know the movie has like a shit ton of flaws. That's just obvious out of the gate. But I don't think it's the worst thing ever. It's definitely better than Batman v Superman. It's
Yes.
definitely better than Man of Steel. And it's
Questionable, but probably.
definitely, I think it's better than, if not maybe on par with a Suicide Squad. Actually, no, it's better than Suicide
No.
Squad. 'Cause
It's
Suicide
Okay,
not
no,
as good as Suicide
I
Squad.
saw Suicide Squad this week
Yeah.
for the first time. Man, fuck that movie. I hated it
Alright.
so much.
God
It was
damn.
so much more of a disaster than I had ever thought or believed that it could be. Like, holy shit.
Do you like how they
Yeah,
spent like
it's
next to no time
some
together, and they were in a bar, and they were like, "Yeah, I guess we're friends." And at the end, it was like, "No, this is my family."
Do you like
what?
how they spent 45 minutes on introductions at the beginning and they still didn't do introductions in a way that made sense? You
Yep.
still didn't know who anyone was, but they spent like half the movie doing them.
I love like the last
Remember when
two,
they
which
introduced-
were nothing. It's
Yeah.
like he's the man who can climb anything.
And the man who can climb
Wow.
anything.
What the
No,
fuck?
just when in doubt, just remember all Killer Crocs want is BET. That's all he wants. Just remember.
All he wanted was to live in the sewers.
And
he
watch
just wanted to go
BET.
home.
What
Yeah.
would like and he fucking crawled like a maniac when he went into the fucking like so much of it. I don't hold that movie in high regards, but
Also
it's the
just
second
introduce
best DC movie.
Katana like it's nothing.
Oh man, she is literally
Yeah,
nothing.
she
in this movie.
walks in the thing and then she says some Japanese words. She's like "Watashi wa Nihongo des," and then she leaves.
It's like
It's like-
that's Katana.
And then
Her sword has her
gives the
husband's
whole
soul in it.
backstory,
And then
that's it.
she looks at her sword and cries a little bit that one
Yeah.
time, and then
Yeah,
Harley
like,
Quinn kills the bad guy with her sword. She doesn't get to do it though.
Nope.
No.
Because
I
no-
will
but-
say that movie
alright.
has one really strong scene. I don't know if you agree with it. Like this was probably my favorite scene when they were like, "All right, bring her out," and the Enchantress scene where you see Enchantress's hands.
Okay,
come
yeah,
underneath.
that was
a really
cool.
well shot scene.
That was cool.
All right. But back to Justice League.
Oh
Alright.
fuck.
See,
Damn
I
it.
think like Claude, didn't you have like a good amount of hype going into it, or did you like
No.
have you had nothing? Okay.
So I had zero hype at first, and then Wonder Woman came out. I'm like, you know what? Maybe they can do it right. And I was sitting at like a baseline. I wasn't super hype. I didn't expect it to be nothing. I'm like, you know what? Let me see what this is. And I'll admit off the top, like there's a bias because I love the Flash and hate Superman, and they Well, I talked about my points enough.
Okay. Well, you see, I had hype, but I had no good expectations coming out of that movie. I knew at fucking best, it was gonna be like a 50 or a 60 out of 10. That's at best, man.
50 or 60 out of 10. That's pretty
yeah.
high.
At best, that's not great for at best.
Nah, not at all.
I felt like it's gonna be passable at best. I'm willing to overlook the problems that this movie is gonna have, because DC right now they're just shitting out whatever. They're throwing everything at the wall, seeing if it sticks. They're like, okay, we're gonna try Suicide Squad, then we're gonna try Harley, and then we're gonna try a fucking Booster Gold movie, and it's just like they're just desperately trying to hang on and like make something that people want to see. So I already knew that the characterization was gonna be shit. I knew that some characters were just going to be there and do nothing. And I knew that some characters were just going to get butchered horribly. Because, like, for 90% of that movie, Aquaman was legit just getting his ass beat. That was, like, 90% of the movie. Aquaman was just getting fucked. And Cyborg didn't really do anything.
With you mentioning...
Wait,
mentioning Aquaman, how did you feel that they were walking in front of the entire town of people, and Bruce Wayne and Aquaman were openly in public having a conversation about the fact that Bruce Wayne was Batman?
That was entirely stupid. But like I guess suspension of disbelief, and you could also believe that it was like a small like town that barely has any like interference with the outside world or some shit. I don't know. Suspension of disbelief. But what was my next point? I did not like some of the things that actually like pissed me off a lot was like when Cyborg just like lost control, like conveniently lost control when Superman came back and just shot at him, and that's what started the whole superhero fight. I also didn't like how like Superman, like you said before, how he like just manhandled everybody on the team. And like even though it is Flash, like he from what we know, this is like Flash. Well, no, actually I take that back. It's not Flash starting out because we knew about him back in Batman v Superman.
God damn it.
And that was like so many
He's
years
been
ago.
already.
I was like what, like
Yeah.
2 years ago in the timeline. So he definitely should be like he's used to handling metahumans too, because he cameoed in
Suicide Squad.
exactly. So like
Which is even more confusing because if he's been doing that for so long, why is it that in literally every fight scene or every scene that involved him when he was
he's
using
tripping
feet,
over
he
himself.
trips over his own feet
That
every
was
scene.
stupid.
Fucking
But-
Fastest man alive. Trips.
That was extremely stupid. They did try to cover for it by saying, "Oh, he's super nervous. He's not used to dealing with like something of this big of a threat level." But still, it's like you've saved people before from like hazardous situations, especially if
love
you're
how-
dealing.
How Batman had to teach him how to save people.
That was Batman, bruh. Batman got shitted on this. That was one thing I did like, how Batman got continuously shitted on this whole movie.
I didn't like it because I actually like Batman as a character.
I like Batman as a character too, but like they tried to like hype him up so much for Batman v Superman and like made him seem like he was just unstoppable. The even though I guess he did have his shitty scenes in Batman v Superman because he didn't do shit when Doomsday.
But he also had the best scene in the whole movie.
He did. But it's still nice to see like I guess a hero that's usually held in so high regard, like kind of knocked down a little bit. Because like every time you see Batman, he's always the best of the best or whatever. It's nice to see that.
Yeah.
But what else about the movie that I didn't find so bad? Okay, I did kind of like the fight scene, even though it was like in concept garbage because he was fucking everybody. But it's Superman, so of course he is. Even though he shouldn't be able to manhandle Wonder Woman like that, but whatever. But that was, I guess, a cool fight scene. I kind of like Steppenwolf, even though he's like, because he's just a generic villain.
What
They're
do you
not.
like? 'Cause he is literally nothing.
Exactly. They're not trying to like make him sympathetic or like try to give him a tragic backstory. It's just like he's shit. He's shit.
He's Ultron from Age of Ultron.
Exactly. He's worse.
He
Oh,
exists
does he
to
have-
be- he
Ultron-
exists to be the
does he have,
villain.
like,
At least
clips?
Ultron tried to be funny and tried to
Probably
have
not.
some type of character. Fucking Steppenwolf he's just a bastard. That's what I like. It's
Were you
something
asking,
like-
Skylar?
I was gonna say, like, does Steppenwolf have like quips like Ultron does, or is
No.
he just evil?
No, he's just
Okay.
evil. He's just a conqueror.
He just
Yeah.
looks like a shitty Diablo boss.
That's pretty much what he is. But
He exists in the game DC Universe Online, and he just looks like a created character, like nothing special.
does he? I didn't get that far in DC Universe Online.
I'll put it in like the podcast chat. Someone sent me a picture of it yesterday. And I was like, oh god. Let's see, where is it?
But what I did like the after credit scene where they had the race. That's like a little nice thing. We all know that he's gonna be faster than Superman, like in the next like movie or so.
I
hope
love
so.
I love the fucking
He has to be.
I love the comic that just explains that no, Superman, I let you win those races for charity.
Yeah,
Okay, there you go.
Charity.
There you go. That's what he looks like in DC Universe Online. Look at that fucking nothing created character.
Where'd you put it?
Wow. Wow.
Whoa.
So is he
That's
from
accurate.
that game? Is that what he's from? Like they
No,
pulled
he's
him
from
that?
DC.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's like
I was
Here's
really
something
hoping
about him
that
too.
he was
To
being
show how
pulled from
shit tier he
DC
is.
Online.
He gets bodied in his first appearance comic by a nobody villain. And then he gets
Wow.
resurrected later, and then he also gets bodied again by someone else who's lame.
Jeez.
So it's like so what you're saying is that they took like a character that would normally be like a Netflix Marvel villain because like like they're small tier shitty
I
guys
mean,
are like
he's-
street level heroes, and they turned him into like I'm gonna take over the world, and they just like have to fight this dude who's shitty and no one cares about.
I
He
mean,
is the
I wouldn't
equivalent of
say
if
he's
Daredevil season
shit,
3, he was
yeah.
fighting Stiltman. Like, why?
He's not-
Why him of all people?
He's not Condiment King bad, but he's not the best ever.
Condiment King is fucking radical, dude. When's
the best
Calendar Man
villain.
movie?
God.
When's the Calendar Man movie?
I want the
Fucking-
Calendar Man movie now.
I want it being made now. I want Calendar Man now.
Calendar
fucking-
Man was actually
he-
did pretty okay in the Arkham
Yeah.
games, to be honest.
He did, and
He
he
was
has
in
to
the
be.
Arkham
It
games?
has to be a fucking murder mystery, or like a horror movie. I don't know, one of those.
Because in the Arkham games, he like exists, and and I remember specifically, I think it was Arkham City where he was like in a jail cell, and if you went to him on holidays, he would tell you about murders that he committed on that holiday. And he's like a serial killer that just does like dumb holiday murders, but he like actually comes across as like a little bit deranged when he does the thing. Is he tells you about these horrible murders that he did on like Thanksgiving, or Christmas or Arbor Day or some shit. But yeah, so that was okay.
But finishing up though, yeah, I thought it was okay at best. Like DC's really shining with their solo heroes. They should stop doing the team thing until they actually get it down and like actually build upon their characters and not just shit out these team movies.
But
But,
fuck you
yeah.
though.
I will never again watch another DC movie in theaters until I hear from enough people that it's actually good and not like divisive.
Still have seen none of them
I'll
except
still
Man
go
of Steel.
watch them. I'll still go watch
You're
them. I
living a
have-
good life.
Mhm.
Is it
Especially
really?
with
I have
Wonder
to
Woman
sit
is
through
worth
them
it.
though.
Wonder Woman
That's
is
not
good.
that great. I'll
Wonder
let you
Woman's-
know. It's probably not good.
What, Wonder Woman? I saw that. It was really good. I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
It was.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
Skylar said the only one he saw was like.
I'm gonna
Man
be
of Steel.
forced to watch that on Monday or Tuesday. Sorry. So I
You
guess
shouldn't say
I'll-
forced because that one's actually legitimately good.
No, I mean like I have to watch it for school. So
The one bad part
literally
is
have
the
to watch
villain.
it.
The only bad part is the villain's design. And Wonder Woman. That's the one gripe I have because it doesn't make sense. But that's about it. Next on the docket is Main Abyss. So spoilers.
Well, before we do that, I know Henry had something he wanted to talk about.
Oh right,
Yeah,
yeah.
Henry has mentioned. Yeah,
Henry
Henry, talk about Chris Chan.
Christian
Okay, so
Chandler.
this is coming from an email I got from a friend of mine who follows Chris Chan very closely.
Well,
so
before we go into this, for the few people who might not know, who is this mysterious Chris Chan?
Okay, so
I got that reference.
Shut up,
Shut
James. Fuck off.
you're causing dead air. So so Chris Chan is someone who basically became an internet figure way long time ago, and around like I want to say 2006 or 2007 when he was like, no, maybe 2009 I think even. He has autism, and he was like a grown adult doing weird shit like calling himself a virgin with rage and making attraction signs, as he called them, to lure women into dating him. I don't think lure is the right
Lure them into dating.
No,
word.
like-
By the way, no darkies.
Not even a bad way to say that.
He's as times have gone on, people tried to troll him and stuff, and like he kind of lost his mind. You know, he just went crazy and everything. Now he and he's like one of the few people who I will deny the privilege of recognizing this as a real thing. He claims that he's a woman, yeah.
Oh.
Well, right now he's being really weeby about some like hyperdimension Neptunia. And-
no!
Oh,
I have
okay.
that
God
game.
Damn it.
There's some suspicion
Why?
right now. There's some
shit, turns
suspicion
out
right now that I'm gonna have to explain a term here. There's something called a ween, and a ween is someone who tries to troll people like Chris Chan and Ian Miles Chong and Richard Spencer, Tariq Nasheed. You know, there's all sorts of people like that. Amberlyn Reed. You know, just general people like that. And weens are not good at it. They're very unfunny. For example, a ween will usually like call Chris Chan and yell "Julie" in the phone, and no one likes it. It's not funny. Chris just hangs up on him, or he like actually roasts them, inadvertently probably, but it's pathetic. And supposedly there's a ween right now trying to convince Chris to say stuff in Japanese, which has a lot of potential because we could get him to say stuff like Billy Mays is the true mayor of Quickville, which calls way back into like trolling Chris in a way that weens don't even know about because they don't do research on the person they're trolling. They just say like, dumb shit like you're gay. And there's a drawing he put out with a bunch of people speaking Japanese, and he wrote their dialogue in Japanese and in English, and it's incorrectly translated because the troll probably told him some BS. I'm gonna read out each thing that Chris thinks he wrote and then what he actually wrote. And I want to talk about it because it's goofy, but it has a lot of missed potential. Because, like I said, it could have been like Billy Mays is the true mayor of Quickville, or I am the imposter, which all like call back to really, really like golden days of people trolling Chris back when he wasn't totally broken, and when it wasn't like just horrible to troll him. Because in my opinion, right now, if you try to troll him, you're an idiot. But I'm just gonna pull these up and let you know. I'm gonna let you know. Okay. This is gonna take a second.
Dead air. Quick, stall for time, guys.
Okay, so I'm back.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm looking at the picture right now, and it's these three people sitting and like talking about a book. And the first girl says, "What a fascinating read," or so he thinks. When you actually read the dialogue, this is the only mildly funny one. It's "Omae wa mo shinderu," which for those who are uneducated,
you even
that's a
did the
reference from
Kenshiro
Fist of the
voice.
North Star. I did get the inflection wrong a little bit. It's "Omae wa mo shinderu." It's like that.
Yeah.
The next one is
it translates to "you are already dead."
the next one is kind of annoying because I can't get the actual pronunciation of the words. I have a pronunciation "onaka ga akemashita," but that was
That's pretty
butchered,
okay.
by the way. That was very butchered, but it's "I am hungry." But on here it's the guy saying quirky but intellectual. Then there's one, it's
Okay.
saying the person is saying "I am gay," apparently, but I don't know how to read it because it's a lot of kanji. But supposedly Chris
Kanjis.
thinks they're saying, "I concur, John Elder had quite the autistic share and flair." And apparently it's in reference to John Elder something, who is like an autism activist. Then at the bottom, the person gave Chris Chan this long thing and was like, "It's your name," when it's really saying, "I have a penis."
Alright.
I don't have a
Wow.
transliteration of it, but it borders the line between funny and unfunny because it's clear that it's a ween that's trying to convince Chris to like do all this weird weeb crap. But unfortunately, he missed a lot of potential by not referencing previous trolling incidents, which would have been great. Like, actually would have been great if he had Chris say Billy Mays is the true mayor of Quickville. But that's all I really wanted to say about Chris Chan. If you still troll him in 2011 +6, kill yourself, because he's not funny to troll anymore. Like the whole beating a dead horse. This is more like the horse has not even become glue. The glue has dried and blown away in the wind. You are beating beating the ground.
What you're saying is it's sad at this point.
Sad.
Sad.
It is kind of depressing to make fun of Chris Chan.
Yeah, there's so many people who are a lot better to troll right now.
Like
But
low tier
focusing on
god.
Chris Chan.
Low. You mean?
if you
I'm sorry. You
focus on
mean
Chris Chan, not
low?
only-
No, stop, James.
He's just like the
James,
last person you
please.
should think of when you think of trolling people.
Tier.
God damn it.
God.
God
damn it.
damn it! It's about to be.
Anyway, guys, how do you guys feel about Made in Abyss? Right, we're talking about that now.
Wait,
God.
guys. Wait, before y'all do that,
Sorry,
look,
I
I
wanted to
posted
finish James's
something
thing
in
for
the
him.
Twitch.
That doesn't
posted
work well
something-
for the podcast.
For the audio
Doesn't-
podcast.
Oh, well, can't you like post it on your fucking Twitch, James?
But yeah, but the
You can-
video
you
is
can
put up on
post stuff.
YouTube. Yeah, but the
I know
podcast
that,
audio
yeah,
gets
no,
put
that
up on
James is a
YouTube.
bitch.
Damn.
Beautiful.
Amazing.
God.
God.
You already
damn
you
it.
said
There
it
it
already.
is. There it
You're
is.
just mad you don't
James,
have the. You're just mad you don't have the God gene.
The God
Yeah,
gene.
you aren't an
The
African
beast.
Goddamn
warrior.
Mighty.
Hold.
You're just white
Cuckold.
cuckold.
You
All right,
aren't
so-
an African
so-
warrior like me.
who pisses in jars. Don't forget, he has the pee jars. So for people who don't know, like Henry, low tier god is a Street
Henry
Fighter.
knows who low tier god
Actually,
is. He knows who
no.
low tier
I've
god
read
is.
up I've actually seen the QE Farms thread on low tier god. I'm pretty familiar with Black DSP.
Well, other people listening might not know who he is.
okay, that's
So
fair.
go for it, James.
he is a Street Fighter player, that is well known for playing online, and then whenever he's losing, he just unplugs his PS4 or PC or whatever from the internet, so you don't get the points because he feels
I'm
like
cutting it down.
yeah, basically
I'm
I'm
cutting
not
down
gonna
that
give the
internet.
points. I'm not
Get
gonna
away
give the
from
points
that,
to that
Chris.
trash ass Abigail.
oh,
He's
that's
like
a
he's
really
just a
good
really
impression.
He's just a really salty ass Street Fighter player
Yeah.
that's like
Yeah, that drone
goes
ass.
goes off of how like he's buff in real life, so that when it comes because does like locals people tries to intimidate them because he's actually buff, but he's too
Like-
much of a bitch to do anything, and they lose to Street Fighter because he's bad.
Yeah.
And then
He's
he gets
black
mad.
DSP.
Yeah.
He is
Well,
actually.
he's physically intimidating, so that's the difference between them.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm physically intimidated by DSP, but mostly because I'm afraid he's gonna like rape me or like make
You're
me
afraid he's-
smell
he's-
him.
You threaten to
gonna
suck
laugh
people's.
around.
You know, I'm gonna
You
stop there.
always, every time you're threatened, you just threaten to suck some games.
The
Are
only
you
time
really
I'd
that
be
scared of
threatened-
it?
The only time I'd be
All right.
threatened by DSP is if I saw him at a buffet and it was a first come first serve.
He
So
can't
God-
afford that shit. We're talking about.
Or God forbid, like a fucking PS1 Super Street Fighter 2 fucking
Yeah,
tournament.
come at him at the PS1 version of Street Fighter
Only
2
one.
Turbo.
So for what we mentioned before, just so we can get so people who are listening can know what's up. James has multiple ways of either attacking or defending himself. When it comes to attacking and threatening you, he will threaten to either A, suck your dick, or B, jerk off to your mouth. Both of these you don't want. Now, if you're stronger than him and he's worried,
You're already
like
wrong.
the elusive squid, he will call you daddy and make you too uncomfortable to fight him.
James, what are you gonna do when someone replies to one of these threats by following through?
I guess I'm
I get the
sucking
feeling
some
that you're
dick.
just gonna roll with it.
I'm gonna have to roll with it. I can't be proven wrong, otherwise the threat doesn't work anymore. Because then he'll just go online like, yeah, no, he didn't suck my dick at all. It's like, well, damn.
It's like,
your
ah,
threat
fuck,
loses
well, I
all
guess I
meaning.
have to kill him now.
Well, damn. No dicks have been
gotta do it
sucked.
then.
Man, yeah, he called me daddy, but he stuttered, so it wasn't at all that uncomfortable. It was weird. It was like, so I just punched him harder.
James is like, I'll suck your dick, and the guy's like, yeah, whatever.
I won't suck your dick if you keep beating me up. All right. Damn. And either way, I'm gonna get either like a dick in my mouth or like horribly beaten or both. I'm not letting
Implying you mind either of those.
Yeah. It's a win-win for James.
I mind the dick sucking part. I don't like sucking dick. It's weird.
I wish I could put doubt in a fucking live conversation.
James,
Fuck.
okay, again, this is more proof that James isn't actually attracted to guys. He just wants something that's vaguely feminine to put his dick inside of.
Yeah, but saying I don't like guys and just want something vaguely feminine makes traps not gay. But that's genuinely not true. Traps are gay.
Yeah, but you don't like masculine. That's not a thing that you like, really.
He explained to me before that as long as he's able to physically overpower his sexual target.
Yeah, I've heard this.
Like,
I've
just
heard
like
this.
his brother.
Oh, come on, he's
Oh,
listening. Don't
God.
do that. Don't do that shit. He's listening. Alright, let's talk about Made in Abyss. Claude,
Yeah,
George,
speaking
and
of-
I.
Little children getting fucked.
Oh, you're right. But,
Uh,
well, George, are you gonna drop out for this, or
I'm
what?
gonna drop out. Let me know when it's over.
Okay.
Alright.
yeah, we'll
Okay.
message you when it is, or James will.
Well, it's already been about like 2 hours and 10 minutes. We might actually call it after this, so
Might as well, I guess.
yeah. Oh, so yeah, just like deafen yourself or some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that series, I think that's the only series where I watched it, and then halfway through, I was like, I need to stop because I have to read this instead. Like it was so enjoyable. But like because I've had a series where I finished and then I was like, all right, I'm gonna read the manga now. No, like I wanted to start from the get-go and then go on. And it's such a strong series. The world building is fucking fantastic.
It is. It's really good.
Holy shit.
Yeah. It's I remember that was my experience too when it first started airing like last season or whatever. I remember watching the first episode. I was like, man, this first episode is amazing. This show looks fantastic. I remember just being like so impatient with wanting to wait week by week to read it, and having heard a couple people on other Discords that I'm on talking about it and showing some art, I was like, okay, really, there's no reason for me not to read this. So I just binged all of it in like a couple of days after the first episode came out of the show, and I was like, I remember for like several months on that Discord, my tag was like my Discord name and then parentheses go read Made in Abyss.
Yeah.
Yeah. Super good manga. Fantastic art. The art in the manga is like, it's like this style that I don't think I've seen before utilized the way it is, where it's like you can tell that it's done on paper and then scanned, because it's like everything that's shaded isn't like line shading, and it's not like digital shading.
Right.
It's like pencils where he like did the thing where you like do the pencil sideways and you shade like that. And so the manga has this really like heavy shading that just like it looks so nice and it looks so good. And the contrast with like the really clean and like simple character art, it's very pretty to look at. I like it a lot.
This kind of just hit me that we started talking about this. So for those of you who don't know anything about this, first off, this is a series you should read. If you're
absolutely.
like, oh, I don't read manga.
It's the Death Note. It's the Death Note of 2017.
Shut the fuck up. If you have any reservations about it, I would say to watch the first episode, because the first episode covers the first couple of chapters of the manga a bit better than the manga does. But then the show
I didn't mind the way the manga started.
I don't dislike it either. But I think that the way that the show starts is a bit more strong to like catch people's attention. I think because the manga kind of starts a little bit slow, but the anime has like a nice like cold open. It just kind of drops you right in and shows you like the animation and the characters and whatever, and it's a very nice little thing, and there's two scenes in particular that are added for the episode that I think were really, really good, and those being the two musical montage sequences, when Rico and the kid, I can't remember his name, we're taking Reg out of the abyss, and there's like the song in the background that's like sung by is the guy who did the soundtrack is like some dude from Australia, so all the songs are in English.
Okay.
Yeah. And so like so it's like there's that part, and the part at the end when it reveals like the sun coming up over the mountain range, and it like shows the
beautiful
town.
Fucking scene.
Yeah, and so like that episode, if you watch that episode and if you come away like being interested in it, to read the manga instead of watching the anime, because the anime, first of all, ends before the best arc in the manga, and second of all, it kind of drags its feet too much with the plot, and so the pacing's kind of weird. So I'd recommend reading the manga instead.
Side note for people listening, if you are interested in watching it, this will go into spoiler discussions.
Oh, yeah.
So this would be the time to tune out. But yeah, like just as a brief for what the series is, basically like it's a very dark adventure story.
Very like steampunk adventure. Dark steampunk.
I don't know if someone wants to describe what the series is.
It's really hard to describe the plot because it's super like contingent on understanding the setting.
It's IRL Spelunky.
It's like Etrian Odyssey, actually. Like we're like there's this big ass hole in the ground, and you gotta go into the hole in the ground to get like cool ass items that give you magic powers. Like one of the ones they described was like a bell, and when you ring it, it stops time. That's like the bell, the thing that Liza was going after was that bell.
Right. She did it like a badass. She gave birth.
She left the bell to take her own child, and then she went back to get it and
died.
came back.
Who died? Her
Yeah,
child.
her daughter was born a stillborn, and then lived because she was put in this giant evil box.
Yeah.
Giant evil box the giant evil lady carried.
Yeah.
Oh god, it wasn't so cool, but we'll get into her when that comes up.
Oh man.
And then the basic plot is that like her mom was like presumed dead, and she was like, I'm gonna be a Delver so I can be like my mom. And then they do a thing like at the beginning of the story. This guy finds what he presumes to be her mom's grave site and recovers a bunch of her personal effects, like the ranking system for the Delvers is they're like based on the color of their whistle. So like trainees are red whistles, and then instructors are purple whistles, and then like intermediate level Delvers are black whistles, and
No,
then
you're
white
forgetting
whistles.
you're forgetting moon whistles. Moon
What?
whistles. Moon
Well,
whistles.
moon whistle is the purple one.
Oh,
They're called
okay.
moon whistles. Yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot that's what they're called. Yeah, but you're right, they're called moon whistles. And then the black whistles are like the intermediate level guys that are like really pretty good, but like like not the best of the best.
They bitch out.
And then the best of the best are the white whistles, who are like revered as like almost like war heroes, and like in that same respect, like crazy badasses that everyone knows the name of because there's only like 7 in existence or whatever,
Right.
and they're cool.
Fucking legendary.
And so Liza, the main character's mom, was one of these white whistles, and so they recover her whistle, and they recover her journals and her like weapon that she used. And among her journals and personal effects, there's a letter that says that she is in fact alive and waiting for her daughter Rico at the bottom of the abyss. And so
which nobody has ever been able to get to.
Yeah, they even said that the map of the abyss is unfinished because you're unable to come back up after the 6th layer without dying, and that everything below that is like things they've heard via hearsay and like letters that people send up from the abyss over like with air balloons.
So just so the people listening have some context, because we talked a bit about the abyss, but not like in full. Yes, the abyss is a giant fucking evil hole in the middle of the city that that basically there's a bunch of treasures like you mentioned. They're down there. The thing that's like, I'm gonna see if I can find the actual chapter and read it. Like the dialogue for it. The thing that's wrong with it is the effects. Yeah, the curse of the abyss is what's wrong. There are monsters down there that will fuck you hard. Like they will eat you. But that's not what gets most people. Reading it now, let's see.
So
it's the return.
So just to say that the abyss is split up into 7 known layers, basically. With each layer being a different depth on of the abyss, and like a certain like level of depth, and with each level having its own like flora and fauna, animals that are unique to that environment, and that also with each level there is a different curse of the abyss, which is the curse is inflicted upon you after ascending the abyss, going up towards the surface at all. Like if you go up a flight of stairs, then you are afflicted with the curse of the abyss. So yeah. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, so, as far as details for it, reading it out, when when heading to the surface from the first level, you suffer minor decompression sickness by a phenomenon of unknown origin. From the second layer and deeper, heavy nausea, headache, and numbness of limbs. From the third layer, additionally, you lose your sense of balance and experience visual and auditory hallucinations. From the 4th layer, you experience pain through your whole body and bleeding through every single orifice.
That one is the worst one.
God, it's so fucking rough.
I can't handle it. It makes me so uncomfortable.
The symptoms become more and more severe. From the 5th layer, confusion, self-harm associated with the loss of all sensation. From the 6th layer, leading the loss of humanity and even death, which we will talk about in a bit. Intense pain often occurs. This is called the curse of the abyss. Returning from the 7th layer is truly dangerous. Only death awaits. That was all straight from the manga. That's not me just reading something I found somewhere.
And all of them, there are visuals for every single like effect as well in that because it's like a visualization of the effects. And like I remember the one for the 7th layer is like a dude crumbling into dust, basically.
Yeah, that's not a good time.
Which when we'll go forward when we get to that 6th layer curse, holy shit. That fucking hit me. That's in the sadness arc, but we'll get to the sadness arc in a minute.
The sadness arc. Yeah, so like, this is basically what I like about the manga's pacing after the beginning part is as soon as the adventure starts, right? And like so it's the main character that goes Rico goes with her buddy Reg, who is someone that she found in the abyss and discovered that he was in fact like an android boy. He looks kind of like you take like a Mega Man and you
But you
mix
give him a human penis.
Well, yeah, you say Mega Man.
It has to be
him
human.
with the main character of Eco. That's Reg's design basically. He's a little boy. He has a helmet with horns on it. He's got little tattoos. Yeah, and so he's got robot hands, like a big Mega Buster arm thing. And so like the sort of dynamic essentially is that Rico has been like wanting to do this her whole life. She has so much knowledge about the abyss and like the way that it works and like the animals that live there and the fauna and like techniques on how to survive like in the wild. So she has all this experience, but she is like actually 12 years old. Like she is a child who cannot survive dangerous encounters with monsters and bullshit like that. Her body can't handle the effects of the curse at all after the 2nd layer. In fact, they say that like a Red Whistle's a person that is Red Whistle who is like in training as a kid usually will most likely die trying to make the ascent from level 2, which they say just causes like nausea and dizziness basically. Yeah. And then the difference with Reg is that Reg has like amnesia and doesn't remember like his deal or anything, and he's like kind of naive and kind of like emotional, and so his thing is that he has no experience, knows nothing, but he is incredibly like powerful as a weapon because of his giant laser cannon arm and his like his arms also extend like grappling hooks.
How far do they say? Like 20 meters it goes?
It's pretty far. I think they say that he can extend them at full length like 100 meters. He was talking about doing like going down the Great Chasm. It was talking about how large that was and how many times he'd have to redo his arms to make that work. How dangerous that would be. Yeah. Yeah. And so that's kind of the dynamic is that like Rico is like knows a bunch of shit but can't actually like get into an encounter and survive ever because she's like a tiny child, and that Reg can win encounters but doesn't know anything, and when he uses his cannon, which is kind of like a solve the problem button most of the time because it's based, like I said, like when he fires it off, it like the first time he does it, he incinerates what looks like a giant, like a football field's worth of space, like as wide and as long. It's super crazy. But whenever he uses it, he passes out for like 2 hours, I think they say.
Yes.
And so then Rico is completely helpless for 2 hours after he uses this thing. So it's very risky to use it because if he misses or if it doesn't do the job or if there's another problem that exists after that, then Rico's fucked and she's dead.
Because he's conscious for up to 10 minutes after firing it off. So he can move around for like 10 minutes, but he will, no matter how hard he tries to fight it, fall unconscious for a minimum of 2 hours.
Yeah. And so there's this thing where they both need each other to at any given time in the thing, and so it creates this really like strong character dynamic that's really good, and both the characters are really likable. Like Reg and Rico are both actually adorable. They're like actually adorable children that are like well-written child characters, and so you could kind of just have this feeling that you want them to watch them succeed despite
the fucking abyss existing.
Yeah, just despite everything pointing in the opposite direction. That there's that. Yeah.
So one of the things that this does really well too is the contrast between this and other shows where people go off on a journey, because other shows typically aren't this like dark and narrative. where like you're going on a journey, you're with your friends and whatnot, and different things are happening. This one, it's just the two of them. The way that they're exploring this world.
Well, there is a third
optimistic
character.
She is. Well, we haven't gotten to her yet.
Okay, yeah.
The way they're exploring this world, the way like just a lot of like the dynamic between like them figuring out stuff, like her like kind of like hand holding him through different things because he doesn't have a lot of confidence. And like him being able to physically protect it, like their dynamic makes them feel closer too. And in the grand scheme of things, yeah, he does have that like one hit like KO thing, but like they are like completely overwhelmed. Like if they they are not like we are badasses walking through here. Even with Reg there, like no, Reg can get his shit pushed in. Depending on what he's dealing with. Especially
well, also, it's like Reg probably until like pretty recently in the manga, I don't think there's been a single person that he's fought that probably could. Well, actually, no, Bondrewd, but whatever, could have been able to actually like kill him. Very few of the enemies that they fought could have actually like fucked him up really in the long run. But the thing is that for Reg,
that one poison thing, because it can.
Well, the poison didn't affect him.
The poison didn't affect him, but he left instantly. And it was said that his spines could pierce through steel. So that maybe.
But it maybe possibly.
Oh wait, Ozen could fuck him up too.
Yeah. Oh well. Yeah. Ozen beat the shit. He beat his shit in. Yeah. but she doesn't count. She has like the strength of like, okay, all right. So I want to do math. Didn't it say that, okay, those pins, one of them in your skin gives you the strength of 100 men, right?
Yes.
Is that what it says? Her arm is full of them.
Did you say she has like 100 of them or something?
Yes.
Or like thousands?
She has, her arms are like, I think it's both of her arms are like, there is more of those pins than there is skin visible. So Ozen's like arm strength or upper body strength must be like the strength of like several thousand men. Okay. Which is bullshit.
All right, so talk about Ozen for a bit. We'll skip past them going through a second layer because like stuff happens kind of, but like it's not super important.
What I wanted to say was that the best part of the dynamic is that like Reg is not really in as much immediate danger as Rico is from the enemies, but his big thing is that he doesn't like have a purpose because he doesn't have his memories or anything, and so like to him, Rico dying would be as bad as if he died himself. So because it kind of has like this really good dynamic.
Yeah. Yes, and because his big thing is that he has no idea about himself at all. So if he doesn't help Rico, he can't learn about his past and what he's there for and all this other stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I almost like I saw the eye patch wolf video. If people have seen that, they'll know that he says the same thing. But I want people to know that I'm not stealing from eye patch wolf. These are all things that I've said before the video came out because I read it several months ago.
Yeah,
actually, still need to watch that. Is it a good video? Like, I need to watch it.
If you've seen Made in Abyss and you feel like you understand like the appeal of it, then there's really no need to watch the video because he just kind of says things that if you've read it, you'll know. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, so towards the end of the second layer, they run into my favorite character in the series, Ozen, one of the white whistles.
Why's it gotta be a white whistle?
White is right.
All right.
They're kind of directed to go to like this area called like the Seeker Camp because they say like there's someone who could help them there basically. And they go there, and the person that's gonna help them, quote unquote, is Ozen, one of the white whistles, who is cool. And I'll let Claude describe because he seems very excited about Ozen.
She's fucking dope. She like I don't know if you could show it somewhere, James, if you still have the capability. If not, guys, just type in Made in Abyss and then type in like Ozen. Like I couldn't name a number off the top, but she's in one of my she's up there in my favorite character designs. She's cool as shit. Her personality is very like you can't really ever tell what she's thinking.
She's like kind of like I feel like her deals like the way that she's done when all said and done and you've like when Ozen's like in the rearview mirror, you kind of get the idea that she's just like hella depressed and doesn't give a fuck, and that's her, and that's why she's like that.
Yeah, so she's dope as shit. She sees Rico and like was it immediately that she was like, oh wait, you're that White Whistle's daughter or you're Liza's daughter?
Yeah.
Because
She
was
knew
friends.
immediately.
She was friends with the main character's mom.
Yeah, she was Liza's mentor when she was training.
Yeah.
And so she also knew Rico when she was born because obviously she was there when she was born.
Yeah, she shoved Rico in that evil box and carried her up to the surface.
In the big evil box.
Yeah, it like, and God, and then like, so they stay there for a night, and then Rico is like, I need to pee, and then she sees this creature just crawling around, and she's fucking scared of shit. But they don't really talk about it too much that night.
A corpse.
They talk about it again the next day when you see like Ozen's like, okay, come follow me. And she's basically talking about like how like some treasures of the abyss work. I don't remember the name of that fucking evil box, but like you could probably describe it better than me.
Oh, the box? Okay, it's like a giant cube that's like the size of like it looks like the size of like a smart car. It's pretty fucking big. And the way that it like so when you put something in it closes into a cube. But when something is not in it, the cube like branches out into like the shards of it. Like it looks like a picture of like a cube that's been shattered, and then there are like these tendrils that are holding all of the shards together, and then you've frozen like that moment in time where the box was shattered. So it was just all the pieces are levitating in the air, being suspended by these like tendrils that are emanating out of the center of the box. At the very center of the box is like this little tiny cubby hole where you can just stick shit into it. And I think that the idea of it is that you put stuff in it, and the thing that's in it isn't affected by the curse of the abyss when you're taking it up. So like that was why they put Rico in it. But also a weird side effect of it is that things that die that are put in it come back to life, but they have this really intense urge to descend to the abyss. And so when Liza, who is Rico's mom, was doing the dive and she was pregnant, because she did the dive when she was pregnant because she was forced to by the government. Basically, it was like when a really valuable relic is discovered, they basically the thing is like, oh, if we dig this up, it could like revolutionize like our nation's like technology, and we could use it for a bunch of things. So it's really important to grab these relics when they find them because it's for technological advancements and shit. And so when this happens, the government will basically like conscript, like do a draft, and they'll send a bunch of people down into the abyss. And usually White Whistles are forced to go because they're super strong and powerful, and they will help ensure the success of the mission. But Liza was pregnant but was forced to go anyway. And these journeys take a long fucking time. I think they say that this journey took like 8 months. And because of that, Rico was born in the abyss, and she was also born a stillborn and was dead. But when they put her in the thingy to carry her body up because they wanted to give her a proper burial, when they took her out, she was alive. And they say that this is kind of like a weird explanation for Rico's like strong desire to go into the abyss herself, and so that's kind of like an interesting thing. It's also kind of creepy and terrifying. I think they also explain that that's why she needs glasses. She gets headaches when she's like not in the abyss because of that as well, or something. Like her glasses don't have a prescription. She just needs to view things through like a lens, so that her eyes don't. She doesn't get headaches. And it's kind of weird because like it kind of colors her character differently. Yeah. Anyway, the coolest part about Ozen that the anime doesn't like do justice to, I think, is that the manga like establishes her normal design in like a pre-chapter like splash page where it's a really cool picture of Ozen like shattering some rocks or something. It's a really cool picture. And then but the way that she's drawn in the manga, she's drawn like I don't even know what to compare it to. It's like she's drawn like a Disney villain, but not in like the way that you're thinking. She's drawn kind of like Hades from Hercules, where her proportions are constantly shifting depending on her mood in the moment. So like Hades like loom over you, and he grows like 10 times bigger than he is, and his hair gets all big and crazy, and he gets like a really weird look in his eyes. Like her body like contorts in a cartoonish way to make her look more menacing whenever it's like needed. So like she's normally like big and tall and thin, but when she needs to look scary, she like has this huge hunchback and her shoulders broaden and her face turns into the Grudge.
Oh.
And it's like she's so cool. It's really cool.
It's dope as shit. And it like she has this kind of like scene where she's like just basically shit talking Rico and like talking about like how, oh, I fucking despise you, and like, no, your mother's fucking dead, and like all this shit. And then Reg is like, hey, you stop right now. And she was like, oh, okay. And then you get the Ozen versus Reg fight, which is a one-sided ass whipping in and of itself.
Oh,
like,
you thought? That's funny.
Like
that you thought.
Like we mentioned before, like how Reg is like strong enough to basically deal with like most of the things he's run into in the abyss. And like he is incredibly strong as far as like the strength of his arms, like where he shoots them out, and he wraps her up, and she's like, "What? Okay." And then she literally flexes out of it,
flexes them off.
Whoa!
And then like, all right,
God.
She throws like his arm back. He dodges it. She grabs his leg, and similar to like the fucking Hulk from the first Avengers movie, she just slams this kid multiple times.
Yeah,
and...
my favorite panel of that fight is the one where Reg is like in a crater on the ground, like what the fuck just happened? And then there's a panel of her like she's like silhouetted, and you see her smiling, and she has like floppy Dalsim arm, and she's gonna like slant, like just crushes him into the earth, and it's just so fucking brutal. Yeah, it's super good. Also, like the end of that fight too, when she's like, I gotta use the cannon or else I'm gonna fucking die. And then she grabs his hand with the cannon and then just points it towards Rico, and he's like, oh fuck.
Yeah. Fuck.
She's really fucking cool. And like, and it's like that whole encounter after it happens is framed like, oh, I was just testing you. Lol, it was for the lulz, and everyone's like, what the fuck? Everyone's like, why did you do that?
So, and there's this weird scene where like she's like, that girl over there can only cry, and that boy is a bucket of bolts and doesn't know what he's doing. And she goes to her apprentice, and he's like, you though, even though I told you not to do this thing, you did this one thing, which is the actual smart move. That's what I expect from my apprentice. And then she comes close to lean in, like, and whispers to her, but you disobeyed me, so I'm gonna hang you up naked later.
By the way, I would like to point out that character is a trap.
Is a boy.
It's a boy.
Yeah, she forces this boy who's like her mentor or her apprentice to cross-dress. I don't know why. It's not ever talked about. You don't really see him again after that.
Don't worry about it.
I don't know either.
No, he's constantly hidden underneath Ozen's coat.
Okay.
That's where she ties him up.
Oh no, please.
She's like fucking like 7'9". I don't know how tall she is, but she dwarfs everyone else.
Yeah, there's that character height chart where there's no like measurements to say how tall that she is, but there is like a comparison, and she is not only the tallest character in the entire manga, she is also so tall that even though she's leaning forward in the picture, her head is cut off the top of the image.
Oh man, so they have their little training arc there where like she's like, yeah, no, I was testing you. As you two are right now, you're gonna get butt fucked if you go any further down. And she gives them like some tips, and like she's like, don't use your incinerator, and then she like forces them to train for like 3 weeks to help them on their
10
survival
days.
skills.
10 days.
No, wait, 10. No, wait.
Yeah, 10 days.
Where
It's fine. 10 days by themselves.
Yeah.
Oh no, it was 3 weeks till the next group came down. Was that?
Yeah,
what it was?
that's what it was. Yeah,
okay.
That's right.
Because I knew 3 weeks. All right, so they had 10 days to train just to get like their synchronization on how stuff works. Which you do see in later chapters, like they do work together a bit more because like Rico's actually doing some things versus Reg doing 100% of the work.
And Rico does like survival stuff, like gathering herbs and like making camp and making sure that they don't get lost.
Yeah.
And then after the 10 days, they delve down. They go down. I'm glad this didn't take long. They go down like the third layer, which is a straight drop wall in like one manga. And then they
it's a one chapter, like one chapter of this
layer, which is the hard start of Sadness Infinity arc. Someone else can take this away.
I'm gonna let Skylar hit this.
All right, yeah. So layer 4 is where the bad times occur. Layer 4, I forget what layer 4 is called now that I mention it. But
Cup of Giants. Cup of Giants.
You're right. You're right. The layer 4's like world design is really fucking cool. Basically, the idea of it is it's these giant mushrooms have grown to like cover up like the top layer of the topmost part of this layer. If you look at it from above, you would just see the tops of these giant mushrooms that are all filled with like water and liquids and stuff. And then underneath that is like the super dense jungle.
Yeah.
And so what happens is they descend and they fall into this like one of those like one of the cups of the mushrooms, and they encounter this monster. I forget what it's called. It's called like a corpse weaver. Is that what it's called?
Yes.
The corpse weaver is on the.
Okay, so the corpse
weaver.
Yeah, that's what it is. The bird that mimics the calls of people that die, and then I forget what this thing is called, but it looks like Princess Mononoke, like San has the mask and then the white fur cloak. It looks like a monster that's designed on that, where it's like it has like a face looks like a mask, and then it has this like billowing white fur, and then it has like these giant quills that like pop out of its back like a porcupine. And it's in the way that it's described to fight is that it's like insanely fast, and it has this thing. So, okay, really quick. In the abyss, they describe the thing that because abyss is so deep down, you gotta think of like realistically it should be dark in there constantly because the sun wouldn't be able to shine in there at all times of the day. But they describe that the light that in the abyss, like the day night cycle of the abyss, basically is determined by this what they call the force field that's in the abyss. It emanates light and it does a bunch of other things. It's the cause of like weird gravity shenanigans on layer 2, where like a forest and a waterfall are inverted. Does a bunch of things, and they explain that this monster can also sense the changes and fluctuations in the force field, essentially letting it like use the force basically, so that whenever you try to attack it, it can sense like the disturbance in the force field as you're starting up the attack. It can sense what you're doing before you do it, and so you're super fast. And I can't remember like if they actually managed to beat it, but essentially what happens
not initially. Oh yeah, it does. It's a note about this because I think I mentioned a little bit before. Its quills are strong enough to pierce through steel, so this is like the first thing that like Reg could be hurt by.
Yeah, could be hurt by.
And on top of that, its quills are poisonous.
Very poisonous. And when they managed to beat it or run it off, I think what they managed to do, they realized that Rico got impaled through the hand. And so what happens is they have to escape the thing in order to deal with the problem, which involves them ascending the abyss as well. So remember, the layer 4 is pain throughout the body and hemorrhaging from all bodily orifices.
Yeah.
So Rico, 12-year-old girl, adorable child, is screaming at the top of her lungs, bleeding from her eyes, ears, and nose, and her arm is inflating to like Popeye levels of giant, and it's just like asking like, just cut it off. Just
fucking cut it off.
Yeah, and so
make sure to break the bone so it comes off easy.
They try to cut it off, and they fail to cut it off. They do it wrong, and they can't do it.
They just broke her arm.
Oh my god!
Yeah, he cuts it. He cuts her arm.
A quick note.
I was just saying that, like, talking about this scene, I think is the most uncomfortable I have ever been in any form of media ever. Like, it makes me feel worse than the eclipse in Berserk. Because it makes talking about this literally, because like the eclipse makes me feel sad and it makes me feel like a bunch of complex emotions. This makes me feel like a visceral sense of like I don't like this. It's making me feel really bad. Like I like legitimately got like lightheaded and had to stop reading because I remember I have like a thing with blood. It freaks me out, and so like just thinking about it for prolonged periods of time makes me actually very uncomfortable. It's really rough.
So, as a quick note, because I was curious after I finished, I was like, how do they handle that part in the manga? That shit is
Or the
done
anime?
so well.
In the anime,
In the anime, yeah.
Because
So
her voice acting is great.
I went to find that episode, and they ascended, and like he lays her down, and like he's talking to her, and she's like, "Don't worry, I'm fine," because she does the same thing in the manga.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, you can't. It's not like fluid motion, so like you just see like panel to panel, and then she's like, "I'm fine," and she's starting to talk to him, and the view's from the side, and like you can kind of like see her eye. Like from like one side, and she's talking to him, and as she's talking, you then like just start to see the blood like starting to pool and like tear down her eyes, and then like then you slowly see the effects start to build up, and then the next time they show her face, her eyes are bloodshot. There is blood gushing out from her fucking mouth, her ears, her nose, her eyes. Like shit looks so much worse than I would have expected they'd allow it to in the anime. Like. Yeah. Like it's one of those things where like in JoJo how they'd always like put the like terrible black censorship bars. Like it was that, but if they removed the censorship, like shit was really rough.
Fuck. That's super it's really rough, man. Jesus Christ.
Jotaro can't smoke a cigarette, but this little girl can get absolutely fucking eviscerated.
Yeah. And so they kind of like that happens like they're freaking out, and then this like figure shows up. It's kind of like, here, I'll help you, and this figure takes them to like her hut where she lives. Yeah, she's
such
like,
a cute
I'll help
bunny.
You.
Gotta
like,
fuck the bunny.
I know you don't.
Stop it.
Not for lewd.
She's especially for lewd, and I can send you a picture of an end of chapter art featuring.
No, I know. I've seen it.
The one squishing the boobs. That's really makes me feel really uncomfortable.
That's a character mixed with her that we haven't seen yet, or haven't heard of yet in this little spoiler talk. She comes up later, but no, that's not Nanachi. That's fusion.
Prushka.
It still makes me uncomfortable.
It does.
You fucking love that picture.
No, I don't, because it's a 12-year-old. But Nanachi is not a 12-year-old.
Yeah, Nanachi is probably like 19 around, somewhere around there. Anyway, so she's like, I know how to make an antidote for this poison. You have to go gather the resources though while I tend her to make sure she doesn't fucking die, right? And so Ray goes to the thing, and they make an antidote, and they kind of there's this the character is revealed to be this like basically she's just a bunny girl. She's a girl that's all has like she's a furry.
Yeah,
I don't know how else to put it.
Anthropomorphic.
Furry.
And she's anthropomorphized bunny. Yeah, she isn't like a person that dresses like a bunny. She's a bunny person, right? And she has this.
James wrote the writer and told him he wanted Cream the Rabbit or Vanilla from Sonic to be in his name. They threw in Nanachi.
I mean, a bunch of people agree with James though, so it's alright. And so she also has this little like weird pet monster thing that has like. It looks like a melted like fucking tribble or something. Like it looks weird.
Midi?
Yeah, Midi. His name is Midi. And so this arc where like the recovery, where Rico's recovering, and Reg is like trying to go over the thing, and Nanachi's being introduced. The whole arc kind of centers around Nanachi and her circumstances and how she got to where she is, and what exactly Midi is.
Oh, God.
So this is the start of a flashback arc that introduces the second White Whistle, who is Bondrude, who might be one of the
best
coolest designs I have ever seen.
Best dad in all of anime.
Fantastic design in arguably one of the most terrifying and not presence filled. One of the most terrifying villains with like legitimate presence behind him that you cannot pass by. Like he is a very well done villain character.
Bondrude is so evil. He is like one of the most like fucking evil villains I have ever seen. and he's so good because he doesn't come across as like cartoonish or done poorly because he has like a goal that makes perfect sense, and it's
He's
just all about himself.
I told Claude when he gets to there, he's gonna love that character because it's exactly what Claude is.
No, that's not. I wouldn't do it for that reasons. I will not deny that I'm like a horrible person in various categories.
You'll
but
do
I
anything
wouldn't
not
do
to die. You'll do anything
Yeah,
not to
that's
die.
his isn't not to die. His is more for the
Wait,
pursuit of science.
he already solved that problem.
Yeah.
Bondrewd already is this
Oh, we'll go on that.
already
So-
at the start of the arc he is unkillable.
Yeah. So what happened?
Wait, hold up a sec. They actually showed Riku being fucking bound up naked in the anime? What
Yeah, they
the
did.
Yeah, it's
fuck?
a very short scene.
It's like like a 2-second cut.
That's
That's something
fucked up.
that's something I feel like I do have to mention because it's a thing that exists. Is that at certain points in the manga, you can kind of tell that the author might have certain preferences.
Two child bodies.
Yeah. It doesn't come up very often, but it's a thing that exists. That it exists, and it will probably, if you're a normal person, make you uncomfortable. And that's totally legitimate criticism. If that makes you uncomfortable, then I don't blame you at all. I feel like, yeah, it's just like I feel like that's something that should be mentioned. Some people that's like a huge deal breaker, and that's totally fair.
Like the scene when like she's recovered and they're doing like the little bath thing, like, and her nipple is just like right there, like it's very zoomed in-ish. I'm like, why?
Yeah, it's like please, and it's like also like it's more to the fact that it's like hyper real drawing of like prepubescent body, and like, oh no, that makes me uncomfortable. Like he went out of his way to make it look as like non-mature as possible.
And it's extra weird because not only do these scenes not need to be there, but like there's no real like, because the characters aren't like shown to constantly be sexually attracted to each other, like one of the weird fucking bullshit anime you see out there.
Except Reg
is.
Well,
I was getting into that.
Well, yeah.
Like Reg is like kind of nervous about it, but like she's kind of like, whatever, this is life. I mean, so you have like a little bit of him being like nervous, but like for the most part, none of that stuff needs to exist in it, and whatever. But that's jumping ahead. I don't even know. Oh, that's right. James looked up something on the anime and her being strung up. So Bondrewd, his part in the flashback starts with you see Nanachi as she's still a human. And there's a character named Mitty who's like, hey, you want to be a white whistle writer? Like, I don't know what she's talking about, but like basically Nanachi had nothing she really wanted to do. She's just kind of there. And Bondrewd showed up with some other some of the black whistles, and he's like, hey, here's the deal, y'all. Who wants to come explore the abyss? This is a once in a lifetime chance. Like very salesmanish, but very like genuine as far as going.
He's talking to like exclusively to like street urchins,
just like, fucking kids he found on the street. And like Nanachi and Mitty were like, yeah, we'll go with you. And so he gets a bunch of kids to go down there with him, and you kind of see a little bit with him and what he's doing, but you don't get like a big thing. Like you just know he's seeing them one by one. And there's a point where he comes to get Mitty, and Nanachi's kind of worried, so she goes too. And like, then like they're both like in these fucking tubes, and they're like, "What's happening?" He's like, well, basically it's an experiment because if you remembered when you come back up from the 6th layer of the abyss, because his base is on the brink of the 5th layer, right above the 6th layer. So it's like, this experiment is to like this experiment is to basically see what we can do to make it so the effect is not going to be loss of life. We will just lose loss of humanity because I can make that shit work. Yeah, but I need experiments first.
He basically discovered a way, like through a system, to have 2 people go into like a machine, and to have one of them ascend, and then have it be so that one person in one of the canisters receives the entirety of the curse for both people, and that the other person will not receive any of the curse and will instead receive what they call the blessing of the abyss, which essentially they call them like Narahates, which I think means like
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't know what it means. It's like a weird word.
The other name they use is like end result.
Yeah, the end result. Yeah, I've seen that
Yeah.
translation as well.
So yeah, he drops the two of them down there, and they're down, and you see these creatures just kind of like moving towards them, and Midi's like, don't worry, like I'll survive this for you, and I like we'll make it through together. And like it's a little bit more heartbreaking because on the way down, Nanachi's saying to herself, please God, she's the one treasure in my life, please don't take her away from me. So yeah, Midi's like talking about, oh, don't worry, like I'll survive this for you, like we'll make it out like together. And then they get raised up, and you see like fur growing on Nanachi, and like you see like the effects of like the blessing happening to her, like okay, she's becoming a bunny girl. And then she looks over to where Midi is, and Midi is screaming. She's screaming over and over again, it hurts, please kill me. And she looks up, and you see her melting into this blob of fucking flesh. And like
literally
her last words were, please kill me.
Melting. Like it is fucking rough. And the worst part is that Midi doesn't die. Midi becomes
Okuyasu's dad.
Yeah, basically.
Oh, it's too accurate.
She becomes the Midi, the pet thing that Nanachi has in her hut, and they explain that she doesn't know that if she is still like present in her mind, if she still has like conscious thoughts, but she does know that she can feel sadness and she can feel pain, and she will never die
because she tested it.
Shut up, James.
But
and
she
knows
did.
that. Shut up. She knows that and that she will never die because she's seen her get like super hurt, and she just feels pain, but she can never die. Except for that, they also explain that the one thing that doesn't regenerate when she's hurt is her eye. So she lost one of her eyes earlier, and so they say that Nanachi's worst fear is that she will die and that Midi will be left alone with no one to fight for her, no one to protect her, and that in the event that she loses her other eye, that she will be blind and lost and alone in the abyss forever.
And I think there's a picture of like things eating her because she constantly regenerates and cannot die, but feels all the pain. So like it's basically you're being eaten forever for the rest of your turn. Like so that's the main reason Nanachi will not leave that area. And she finds out about Reg's incinerator, and she's like, could you do me a favor
Yeah.
and kill Midi?
I love it too because it's set up like she's gonna ask something kind of like sexually because she gets all embarrassed. I don't know, man. She gets all embarrassed and was like, "Oh man, it's really hard to say this."
She gets embarrassed because he touches her in bad places.
Yeah, but she specifically gets embarrassed. She is very clearly like blushing and like getting all like about it. Like, it's
I fucking hate you for that picture.
What picture?
Look in the podcast chat.
Oh god, what did I send? Oh!
I don't know if you can show that for people. Or what you can do for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So to explain people who are only listening to this on audio, it's one of those like, you know how there's those like, who would win? And it would show something on the left and then, you know, something on the right. And the right thing is usually a dumb joke, but the thing that actually wins. So his is, who would win? And it has a picture of Midi and Nanachi. And it says, a friendship to last 3 ages. And on the right, it's like an elevator.
Oh. That's fucking perfect.
You're fucking as bad as Bondrew. Like, get out of here.
That's the best version of that meme that exists.
Probably.
And so that basically is like, man, your canon is a super hype canon that I learned about when I was with Bondrew, and it might be able to kill Midi. So I mean, this place is safe. So just fucking try, please. And so that's like that sort of thing happens where he's able to kill Midi and Midi's able to die, and then Nanachi's like, well, now I don't really have a purpose or whatever, and they're like, well, you should join us and our little group of friends. And she's like, sure, I guess. And she goes,
no, I love that too because it was like it's two panels. It was like
panels.
Sure.
And the first one's blank, and the other one's like, Yeah, sure. But like
Yeah.
right after Minnie died, all right. So foreshadowing for the next part, where you're like, oh fuck, is right after Minnie died, you're transported to like the scene goes to a lab, and you see like a bunch of lights on the wall, and one light's out, and it's Bondru. Then he's like, oh, she was actually able to succeed in killing her. So you know that he's been monitoring her this whole time. He's like, she succeeded at it. I should go congratulate her. And then it cuts away, and it's like, okay, so you know he's coming at some point in time.
Oh yeah, that's
know...
a really good arc end. That's really strong.
Signature
I think that's where the anime ends actually.
Okay,
yes, that's where that ends.
My cat popped up on my fucking desk. My cat is actively trying to ruin the podcast.
Throw your cat on your bed or something.
I'm not gonna fucking throw my cat. She's too cute. She's too precious. No, don't put your asshole against my screen. Don't put your fucking cat asshole against my screen. What are you thinking?
Really... Okay, I'll let you have your fun there.
No, she's like, you know how cats like will raise their tails and then make you see their dumb asshole?
Well, I mean, you trained her to do it, so that's your fault.
Well, I didn't. Anyway, she was doing that, but then her butt's like really close to my screen, and I really don't want my cat's fucking brown chocolate starfish to be on my fucking screen.
That's
Jesus
great.
Christ.
That's a good thing.
It's a good thing that I don't want this. Yes, I know.
Yeah, and then so then they leave Lair 4 with Nanachi in tow. Which, by the way, I learned that was not planned. That originally it was supposed to be like Ozen, where they have a little adventure with Ozen, and then they leave, and then Ozen's like, you know, like they mention her a couple times, but she's not like present really.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be the same thing with Nanachi, but that Nanachi was so popular on like forums and art, like there's tons of fan art of her. She was so popular in Japan, basically, that not only did that he change it to make her a permanent party member, but he also
quote unquote permanent.
She also basically saved the manga's publication, because the spike in popularity caused by her arc was the one that like pumped viewership up enough to make it stay in publication, which is pretty cool.
It's very clear that the Japanese want to fuck the bunny.
No, don't fuck the bunny.
I'm gonna fuck the bunny, okay?
Fucked his cat already. What else is next?
The bunny. The bunny is next. The bunny's gonna get this dick.
Anyway, we should streamline. We should continue on this because we still have like a third left of the manga, and I don't know what our time is, so we should keep going.
Yeah,
and you know what? She's gonna like the end result.
Shut up! Just let's continue on because Skylar has to leave too soon.
Fuck you.
Anyway, we'll skip past them going through the bugs and go to when they met Bondru.
So basically what happens is they go to the 5th layer, which is called the Sea of Corpses, and it's fucking cool. And they meet Bondru, who's in this giant ass like
lab.
They actually describe it as an ass.
As a what?
Remember they described the machine as an ass?
That's his relic. We'll talk about that later.
Oh yeah, you're right. I forgot about that. That it's called the Ido Front, and it reminds me of like the Geo Front from NGE. But it's like this giant cylinder that's at the base of the Sea of Corpses, and it has like emanating light from it. Basically, it's basically built around the entrance to the 6th layer, is what they say. And they go there. They meet this girl named Prushka, who they figure out is Bondru's daughter, and she's like kind of like I think they say that she's a little bit older than them.
Like she's like 14, or they're 12.
Yeah, they're 12, which is why I say that Nanachi has to be like 19 or 20, because when she was at Bondru's facility, she probably would have known Prushka if she was important, and she doesn't recognize her or know her at all. So that means that the whole deal with Prushka had to happen after Nanachi left. And so there was that whole thing with where they meet Prushka, and then Rico's like, this is weird. I don't know, this guy kind of skeeves me out. Ozen told me that
Yeah, this guy.
that-
Do not trust this guy. It
yeah, that
was
he's
Ozen's
not
warning.
trustworthy. Yeah, I believe Ozen's
He's a
exact
real
words were,
bastard.
"He's a real bastard. He's not as gentle as I am," says the person who fucking punched Rico into the earth.
Ah,
Punched Reagan into the earth. He flicked her
yeah.
on the forehead, but
Yeah.
she flew back into a wall and she was
Yeah,
bleeding from her forehead.
yeah. Not as gentle as she is.
Strong line.
Yeah. And so he's around. He's kind of like being like nice, but kind of like weird. And then
You could tell something's up, but he's not letting on to what.
yeah, so basically what happens is he splits them all up into different rooms, and then Prushka kind of finds out where Rico is, and is like, "Hey, what's up? I'm Prushka. This is cool that you're my age."
They were all in the same room initially. That's why when she woke up, she's like, "Where is everyone?"
Oh yeah,
And
that's
she
right,
started
that's
looking
right. Yeah. And so it turns out that like,
Skylar not knowing the lore.
sorry, I read this a couple months ago. There's a lot of details that are kind of a little muddy on this part because it's kind of like a bunch of things happen really quick. But essentially what happens is that Bondrewd has taken Reg and is going to experiment on him, and so he's like, and it's this really fucked up like thing where he's
God.
like hooked up to this machine, and he's like naked, and there's like things sticking into all of him, like all over his body. They even have like a tube that's like hooked up to his dick to see like what his pee samples are.
Yeah, he's like, "Is this like
Because
what is this?"
Because it's like what is
Yeah.
this urine?
Yeah,
You're a
yeah.
robot.
When I saw
make any
when
fucking
I saw
sense.
that, I was like, "That's legit fetish art," because that shit is fetish art that I've seen.
Yeah, but it also
that-
like it's also kind of, but it's like also was not drawn like fetish art. It was like super uncomfortable to look
Yeah,
at.
but
But
that
it's
kind of
like-
fetish
like-
a lot
art
of
is
pain.
uncomfortable to look at.
They're
Yeah,
stabbing
that's
into
true.
his belly button to see if that shit will hurt him. That chapter ends with his right arm being cut
Being
off.
like sawn off, which is crazy because they also talk about how that arm is like the steel on it is like impenetrable basically.
Mhm.
Yeah, and so here we meet the greatest boss of Made in Abyss, which is a flight of stairs that they have to climb in order to reach Bondrewd's
Yeah,
lab.
so this is for Riku. She's like, "Oh, is this here?" And she's starting to climb up the stairs, and then like you just see her like I'm assuming these were part of the hallucination she was having because I don't know exactly what's causing it. Like something sticks her arm, something sticks her hand, and like the next thing they really show is like Prishka like talking to her, and she fell down the stairs, and like you just see these deep cuts along her like arm and her,
Because
her
they
cheek and
say
whatnot.
that it causes you to self-harm, and also you lose all bodily senses. So what happens is
Yes.
that it's a really cool visualization of it, because whenever it happens to everyone, it looks like their body is dissolving into smoke, basically. And it's a really cool effect the way it's drawn whenever like the curse happens to someone on this level. Basically, though, what happens is they manage to rescue Reg. He's got one arm. They escape with Prushka, basically, and they get tracked down on the Sea of Corpses by Bondrewd's party, but they're
The praying
saved.
hands.
They're quote unquote saved by giant monsters that pop up out of the sea, and they fuck everyone up. And Bondrewd gets like sliced in half or something. And they're like, "Yeah, he's fucking dead. We did
Wait,
it."
no. Bondrewd was the only one who was okay after all that.
Yeah, because
No,
he,
Like
wasn't
he
it,
just
like-
like
no,
no, I
because
know
he,
what you're talking about.
he used Smorgasbord to protect him. Use the
Wasn't it?
guiding light.
But I thought that was the scene where it's revealed that
No,
like he gets
no, no, no,
killed,
no, no,
and then the
no,
guy
no,
takes
no,
his
no.
helmet and puts it on.
No, that
No,
was
that's
after the
after.
fight.
So what happens
Oh,
is
okay.
that's the only one that's okay, and then they start fucking tag teaming him, and he's like, "Oh, that's how you work. That's cool as shit." And then
Yeah,
they're playing,
he's
like-
super
like-
hyped for this fight.
Yeah, he's really hyped for the fight.
Yeah, and Reg tackles him into the water, and then stretches like his arms
Oh,
out.
that's
and,
you're right.
pulls him
that's
back up, and like you found out their strategy was like, we will beat him by turning him in something that is not human because he will be affected by the curse because Reg isn't. So they know that the curse ends or begins like right under the water level. So you dip in the water and they come back up, and he was like, "Oh, your arms can extend that far," and he's starting to just fucking turn it into bullshit and melt around. Yeah. And then like it's like, oh, that was fucking sick, and he's just fucking like a blithering mess. And I'm like, oh wow, man, I'm surprised he was that calm. And then like the praying hands come up. Prushka was there, and she was super sad, screaming, "Daddy, Daddy!" And then one of the praying hands fucking rips the helmet off the dead body and throws it away, and then puts it on, and it's like, "Ta-da! I'm Bondrewd." And I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah. It's like this sick.
And then he just fucking like breaks everybody super easy. He's just like,
He doesn't
well,
fight.
Because
I guess he's coming back. No, he doesn't break them right there. He's like,
weird.
all right, like, because he's talking to Prushka. He's like, no, as long as I have you, I'm immortal. And he looks to the others who are like,
all right,
terrified.
I'll be
by
honest.
like,
That's a really good like foreshadow of what that is, but also like a
Yeah.
really good dad line.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
If I heard my dad say that, I'd forget all the abuse.
well,
Oh no. Papa's right.
and then he like the thing that I mentioned is like, yo, he's not like evil. Like he's a presence that you need to pass by is shown entirely in the next line. He has the full capability to fuck them up right there. He looks over them. He's like, well, I'm gonna go home. But yeah, I look forward to seeing you guys again later. And then he just leaves because they can't go to the next layer of the abyss without going through his place. And he has no rush on going to them. So he fucks off and they're like, holy shit, what the fuck was that?
Yeah. It's so, and basically they have to devise this plan. It's like, how the fuck are we gonna kill Bondrewd? Because like they explain that like Regs has a battery life, basically, where like there's like this symbol that pops up on his helmet whenever he puts it on, and Anashi says that like she's looking at a lot of relics in the abyss, and that basically that a lot of relics have that symbol, and that depending on its brightness, when the symbol shows up, that
it'll show something like some type of indicator of how many uses that
how many
that
uses
item
it has left. Yeah, and so she says looking at him that he can use his cannon about 3 more times before he just shuts off, and they have to repower him. And so yeah, so they're like, okay, there's a thing in the facility that we can use to power you back up, and we'll do that, and then you'll fucking kill Bondrewd, all right? Well, then so basically the plan involves like destroying the facility, which would kill all the praying hands, basically, and then having Reg just beat Bondrewd in a straight up fight. And then so
as this is happening, they do cut away though with the Prushka scene.
Yeah, which was where Prushka's like, Bondrewd's like, hey daughter, I need something from you, and she goes like, okay dad, whatever, I'll do whatever you want. And then there's like the cut of her.
He's drawing on her with marker.
Yeah,
and
he's
he says
like
off to the side, cut off all the parts with red.
Yeah.
And she's literally like head to toe. There's so many portions that are egged out. Like imagine like a butcher. Like if he had the lines onto where to cut the meat. That's basically what's drawn onto her body.
Yeah, it's almost like she's not aware of what's happening, which is the worst part.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't register that he just said that.
Yeah. It's really rough. And then so basically what happens is that the plan succeeds. They are able to get rid of a lot of the praying hand, and Reg also charges back up. But in the process, he becomes like a fucking he goes like berserk. Basically, he's like he becomes super hostile. And the way that he's drawn in this also, it looks like those parts in Mob Psycho when he's all sketchy lines. It's like that, basically.
Yeah.
It's fucking really cool, and he has this like long, like elaborate fight with Bondrewd with bunches of sick panels. Like Bondrewd has this cool weapon that shoots out like tendrils or whatever, and the way that is drawn is really cool. It's like that is drawn with like super heavy inks.
So on Bondrewd a bit on how he fights when he's actually fighting, because the first one he didn't fight. He is head to toe in like different types of armor. On different, like, basically, like, a bunch of bullshit. Like, he has artifacts built into his, relics built into his armor. Like, one of his things is the needles that, like, I loved when they, like, in the end of the manga, they, like, give you, like, notes on what things are.
On what things they are, yeah.
3 manga, they note what everything he has is. And one of his things is needles that if they hit you, they will instantly apply a curse to you. Like, the curse of nausea and all that shit. And they go more in depth when they're like, a lot of creatures don't feel the curse of the abyss, so this weapon is specifically meant for fighting people. I'm like, oh shit. So and he has fucking like unibeams that come out of his face and shit, like reflecting lasers. Like he has so much shit.
Well,
Like,
wait,
built into
Unibeam
his
is
armor.
one big blast. So who else in Marvel has that? It has like a spread shot. God.
Iron Man has Unibeam in Marvel.
Okay. Yeah, I know,
Yeah,
but
it looks like Optic Blast though.
yeah, it's Optic Blast. That's what you're thinking of, because Unibeam's just the big blast, whereas
Out of the chest.
yeah,
Fair
Unibeam,
enough.
Unibeam,
Yeah.
Optic Blast.
And so they have this really big sick fight, and like it's super long, drawn out, and eventually there's a thing where they're knocked over. They're knocked off like a ledge.
Well, Reg uses the incinerator when he's caught, and that shit makes a fucking chasm. And then like they don't see Bondru, they're like, oh, he fell. And then one of the fucking praying hands tackles him. He's like, nah, motherfucker, we're not done. Come with me.
Follow me, please.
And he tackles him into the abyss. And then they have a sick fight in the sixth. Like now they're at the sixth layer, and Reg's plan is like, okay, he can do something to keep himself away from the curse. We're gonna have him expel that because he can only do it so much. So they're fighting and scaling the wall, going higher and higher, and you see these fucking cartridges flying out of his back, which is, I don't know when exactly it's described. Basically, like they go into
afterwards.
All right, so it's described afterwards, but all right, so we'll talk about it after. But like you see these containers fucking flying out of his back, and he's becoming more and more monstrous. Like he has like fucking like dragon talons and a long ass tail and shit. Yeah. And they're eventually like on the fifth layer again, like where his base was, and like he looks demonic in origin. And then like you see like Riku was looking for Prushka the whole time, and so was that little pet thing that Prushka had. And she goes over to one of the containers, like licks it, like, and then starts crying. And then you hear Bondrewd say that was Prushka. And afterward, you find out what those containers were. Basically, he scraped like parts of human beings, like all the non-necessary parts, eyes, fucking like teeth, like everything that wasn't necessary. He would scrape off you while you were alive. Like it is absolutely monstrous and torturous. And basically all the necessary bits, he'd fucking liquefy and put in these containers. And that was a result of the research he had with MIDI.
Somehow keeps him alive. Somehow.
Yeah, it transfers the curse of the abyss onto the canister instead of himself.
And he gets the blessing, which is why he came out like a sick dragon man instead of like
right. Okay.
Yeah, so and then you found like he did that to Prushka and whatnot, and that of course made Reg like extra mad. And they continue their fight, and just to save time, of course, Reg wins. He fucking when he's pinned down, he shoots like an incinerator blast from his foot. And seeing this, seeing it right before it happened, Bondrewd jumps over it. Well, the only way I can describe this is think about the Saiyan saga where Gohan bounced off the mist spear bomb and hit Vegeta. Fucking Rico off in the distance has Reg's severed arm and bounces his incinerator blast off that and to hit Bondrewd and disintegrate half of his body. And then
she activates the incinerator and uses it.
Yeah,
I thought she reflected.
I think it was like a double blast where he did both hands. I think isn't that what it was? I can't remember.
No, she only has the one arm.
Yeah, she had the severed arm.
Oh, that's right.
She activates the severed arm. That's what happens.
That's what happens.
Because Nanachi makes a comment about it.
And then she goes up to like his half burned out body, and they have like a small talk. And it seems genuine, like he's happy for them that they won and they're gonna continue on. And like she's like, oh god, fuck you. But at the same time, she's not like fuck you. Like she's she's kind of I don't know how to describe it.
She's and like, it's a shame I have to fall for your sugar-coated words, is the quote.
Okay, that was the wording.
Basically.
And then stuff happens, and Prushka, something happens with Prushka. I'm not gonna go into that because that would be explaining like the white whistle thing that Bondrewd mentioned before. But they're about to leave, and then you see Bondrewd's not dead. Banjiro is not dead. Part of his deal is that he can transfer fucking like he has just a bunch of backup bodies. All the bodies that
Every single
Like,
one of
one
the
of
praying
Iron Man
hands.
is
It's
just
just
like
him.
another him. They're just not decked out with Iron Man shit. So he still has bodies on the ready, but they were like, yeah, no, he shouldn't bother with us because he lost so many praying hands and all that gear that he shouldn't have the strength to fight Reg again. So you just kind of see him sending them off, like, all right, well, bye.
Later.
And,
Come again.
And,
Come
Like,
again.
he's like the most evil villain who doesn't even lose.
Yeah,
kinda
he
loses,
doesn't lose.
But like he like still exists. There's no indication that he like learned his lesson. They're literally incapable of beating him, pretty much.
and it's
And
like he's just still allowed to just go on with what he's doing.
yeah, no one's gonna stop him.
Holy shit.
So yeah, from there, that's the end of the sadness arc. There's only like 4 chapters after that where they explore the 6th layer, and it's like, yeah, no, this is the point where they've talked about like we will never go back up to the surface again because we will either be cursed or become something that's not human. And you see an entire civilization of basically monster people. Like what happened to Midi, you see an entire civilization of them.
Basically, they're
and
all
they have
like
like a society.
have their own language.
Yeah, they have
It's
their
a
own
really
language.
Fucking in the society, like the way that this shit is like developing in the recent chapters is almost like straight up Lovecraftian. Like it's
Like-
fucking weird and creepy.
Also, okay, so I'd like to point out the pacing of this webcomic is impressive. It is only 44 chapters?
43 chapters as of right now.
And they're already almost to the bottom.
The bottom
Like-
of what is known to exist, which I
Yes.
can't imagine it'll be much more than 7 layers.
Yeah, I feel like we'll have like one last encounter at the very bottom, and that'll kind of be it. And it's weird
So-
because this is like really good, and it's gonna be weird when it actually ends. You know what
It'll
I
be
mean?
great that it actually ends because it'll have a
Well,
happy
yes,
ending.
Cough,
it'll be
cough, berserk, cough, cough.
yeah. I mean, it'll be great when it ends, but it'll also feel weird because it'll probably be like only 100 chapters, and
I'm fine with that.
And that'll be fantastic.
I've never read
concise
I've never read a manga that's 100 chapters. So
I mean, they're
You
out
can
there.
do
I
like
just wanna
Koikaze.
read them.
Koikaze is pretty short. Like Aoi
Um,
Hana, I think is pretty short too.
But yeah, like that's basically where the manga went up to. Like we haven't seen so much that we can go in depth with what's happening. One thing I want to note is the value system.
yeah, the
And
value
yeah,
system's a
sitting
little
down
fucked.
there.
The balanced. Everything must be
God.
balanced.
So they're going down there and everything-
shoving people's hair up animals' buttholes and then sewing it shut.
Well, that's like a character that we don't know enough about, so I don't even want to go into that.
Yeah, that was
But-
weird.
But we
It
have
was
enough
weird.
about the fucking balance. So they go there and like they're like, "Oh, human children, you guys are worth a lot. Do you want to sell each other for value?" And he's like, they're like, "No." They're like,
You
"All right,
sure?
well, y'all are valuable. Just know that." But and someone is petting that little like animal thing that she had, like the one that belonged to Prushka, because that's with them now. And then she's like, "Hey, you're petting it too hard. Hey, hey!" And he fucking squeezes it, and his fucking anus comes out like prolapses and shit.
Yeah.
And,
Like pulls out his
Yeah.
intestines.
Yeah, and she's like, "Oh no!" And then like they found out like, "Oh no, it was kind of like the way his body works. It's still safe." And then he's like, "What happened?" And then she's explaining like he did all this shit. He's like, "Oh, well, is it valuable?" He's like, "No, I'm not gonna sell it." He's like, "But is it valuable?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Okay."
But no,
Well,
so
what
it's
was it said that-
insurmountably valuable.
He has damaged its value.
And then all these black things just
Yeah,
surround a thing
all these
that.
black things.
What would you describe them as? Go ahead and go for it.
Unreal black things.
Yeah.
Like surround this guy, and it's like they reach under it's like one of this like fucking fat folds and take something it loves and like rips
Yeah.
it apart, and then they rip part of its skin off and then like rip its arm off and shit, and like here, this belongs to you now.
it's like
Yeah.
coins or some shit.
No, they turn it into coins.
Oh,
Basically,
They were
yeah.
like, they were like, we don't want this shit. I don't want his arm. He's like, well, it's the balance has been made. Like
Yeah,
everything's equal, so take
yeah.
it back.
And it's
Well,
like
no,
it's
and they're
yours
like,
now, and even if you throw it away, it's still not thrown away.
So basically, the way the system works is that everything there has a value. basically. Where like you're there and you have established the value, and you can make trades with things that are of equal value, and it depends on the person. So like they talked about before that like they could trade like strands of hair to people for things because like the people have value for that, whatever. So they say that any attempt to damage someone else's value will result in a balancing in which some of your value is damaged to an equal extent to the value that to the person's value that you damaged. And this is done by like horrible monsters that come to you and they fuck you up until the value is equal.
And it can't they like look into your heart in a sense like from the like not the force field but from something, and they can tell legitimately like, yeah, no, you really do value that a lot.
Yeah,
like they had something to show that.
And there's also and then I guess the most recent development before I guess we can wrap this up because there's not much else after this is just that there's been a reveal that the value of things if you're in the village and you're not like one of the people of the village that like are like part of the system, then they say that the value will be shifted, meaning that they can take advantage of the system probably in some way. And that's kind of like the cliffhanger ending of the most recent chapter is like, what does that mean exactly? And there's then there's a panel of Midi and Nanachi together, and it's like that makes no sense. Midi's fucking dead.
That last chapter was fucking dark. I didn't like that one section where they lured her away.
Oh yeah, I also had a lot of things that were like, no, I don't like that. Sucks. Like Rico almost getting balanced, and then the Reg like getting attacked by that thing from Horizon Zero Dawn, and then
which apparently knows him and is cool with him.
No, there's the giant horse thing that looks like the thing something.
Oh, that no, I thought you were talking about the thing.
And then that dude looks like that guy looks like a big daddy.
Oh, the one that's with him, and he's actually kind of cool.
His design is fucking cool. Also, the new girl character, like the other thing that's like Nachi, Faputa, she's also a great design. She's only been in one chapter of this manga, but she's already like strong, strong character.
What kind of animal is she?
I don't even know.
She's like I don't know. She got 4 arms. I don't know.
I might fuck it.
Apparently, those arms are strong because she was able to pin Reg down.
Yeah, she was.
Oh no.
How old is she? Is it legal yet?
We don't know. We don't know anything about her, except that she is value personified, I guess.
Oh,
whatever they said about her.
Ooh. Yeah, and
does that mean she's a virgin?
Please stop,
James. Go die.
Please stop. Anyway, yeah. So that's kind of where the manga's at right now. It's very good. The art is very strong. The story it goes places, goes really cool places. We just told you the entire plot, though. But I mean,
well, we said at the beginning of this that like if you didn't want to be spoiled on anything, then to read it. So people who heard this, it's even after hearing all these details, it is so worth it seeing it happen. The art is fantastic, like for multiple parts. Most noteworthy, like even though I've talked about how much like Ozen and how she's drawn, the Reg Bondrewd fight visually looks fantastic on the art style change they have.
Yeah, it's really something.
And on top of that, I would recommend seeing the manga too, especially that section we talked about when Sadness arc starts. Like I only looked at like some clips from that part. It looks really good. I'm actually scared, but I'm going to watch the last episode of that because I know the last episode covers Midi and Minachi's transformation.
I heard that they did it well. I feel like people that watched it that said that.
I watched the incineration clip. It was really good.
Yeah, I heard that there was nothing that was not shown, and so that's something that I didn't think would happen. I remember when I was reading the manga and I got to that point, people watching anime, and I was like, man, there's no way that's just gonna fly on TV anime. And then it did. I guess they fucking did it. So that's cool. I highly recommend Made in Abyss.
Yeah. I would also highly recommend the DADCast episode 5.
5? Are we on 5? Is this 4?
We're on 4.
That's actually a pretty solid segue, James. I understood where you're going with that.
Okay.
So thank you guys for joining me. including George.
Oh, you want to get George back in here for his goodbyes if he has anything?
Yeah, because if I don't, he'll think I'm being mean. So get somebody get George.
Wow,
in.
James.
I got nothing going on. I'll just say bye really quick.
Message him,
I actually
James.
do have to go.
Okay.
So it was a time.
Yeah,
So,
good 3 hour 30-minute podcast, guys.
yeah.
Jesus,
Fuck.
this is long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Jesus. Anyway,
You know,
see you later.
maybe next time we have two different things. Yeah, see you, man. Maybe next time we have two different things we want to like spoil talk about. We should separate them over in multiple podcasts because
Nah, it's dumb. It was long because Skylar went on like a huge rant about his fucking Kino shit. His fucking anime.
What did you say about Kino? I don't because I like.
No,
I know I
I'm
took
just
up a long
using
section.
Kino as a catch-all for like cinema and like good movies and shit.
No,
but
shit. All right.
Well, George can hear us, but he because he's only muted himself, so I guess this is
All
it,
right.
guys. Claude, you have a comic.
I have a webcomic this weekly called War, following a villain nowhere near as villainous and unfucking forgivable as Bondrude, but it's a villain story nonetheless. You could read, I read at least 2 chapters a day. Instead of fucking day, I'm fucking up real hard. I release 2 pages a week every Friday. And as of right now, I believe the main site has 52 pages out. Completely free to read, so check it out, and you'll be able to have the link for that
in the description below.
In the description below. And if you're one of the few people who's reading this or watching this live, the website is tapis.io, and you'd have to look up my name, which
it's tapis.io/war3 is the URL.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, you remember that. Okay, yeah. All right, well, that's all I got.
All right. Well, you guys can catch my Dojin Dan top 10 doujinshi tags video on the YouTube channel Dojinshi Dan. If you just Google search doujinshi, or if you do a search on YouTube of Dojinshi Dan, you should find it pretty immediately. So I've got 2 videos out on that so far, and then I have a Doug Unfunny video in the works currently. Expect that maybe next week, hopefully. And have a good night, guys.
See ya.
Bye.